just right when I got off the air, I just started seeing these reports of an earthquake in North Korea. And as we said in the previous stream, when they do it, if they do a test of an H-bomb, when they do nuclear tests there, you first hear about it as an earthquake because they cause the earth to shake. And let me just show you this. It's incredible that this is happening. Okay, look. So let me just show you some of what I'm seeing right here. So Gene Lee, magnitude 5.2 earthquake in far northeastern North Korea, according to USGS. These quakes usually are underground nuclear tests. So I'm going to retweet that. And then South Korea's military confirms artificial quake near North Korea's nuclear test site. So this looks like it is a nuclear test. This would be North Korea's 6th nuclear test since 2006. Last one was nearly a year ago. Kim Jong-un undeterred by warnings and sanctions. I'm going to retweet that too. I'm going to retweet all of them. So it looks like there has been, let's see, I don't know if this is right now on North Korean TV. I think they're actually announcing it on TV. I'll keep looking here. We have, if the magnitude stays at 5.2, this would be the same size as the Kim 5 in September 2016, which was a few tens of kilotons. So they tested a weapon in September 2016. But experts thought that explosion wasn't big enough to be a full H-bomb. They thought maybe it was a traditional a fission bomb, which is the lesser strong kind of nuclear weapon, maybe with some extra stuff, with some extra boosting done. So if it's this size, it's not. They could have just tested a fission weapon that's not an H-bomb and kind of boosted it in some way, but that doesn't mean they have a full H-bomb. So this is, again, if what Jeffrey Lewis is saying is that the magnitude of the last test, 5.2 earthquake, was such that experts were like, well, we don't think they really have an H-bomb yet, even though they claim to. So it seems that the initial magnitude report here is similar to the magnitude report of the one a year ago. Let's keep looking here. Oh my gosh, magnitude revised to 6.3. Revised to 6.3. Oh my gosh. I wonder what I think that the one, if it's really 6.3, let's see. Wow, they're saying 6.3. I think this would be, wow. I think the last one was a 5.2. Let me see if I can look that up. This would be really significant if it's significantly bigger than the test they did in September 2016. So the one they did, gosh, does it say what the magnitude was? September, it's very important, 9th, 2016, North Korea earthquake. 5.3. So the magnitude, just to get clear on what I'm saying, the magnitude of Quake at their last 9/16 nuke test was 5.3. Oops. Sorry, I just wanted to get that out there. So that's important, guys. So as I'm saying here, as I'm tweeting out, this would be a significant raise in explosion level from their last test. And their last test, I believe, had a yield of, estimated yield at 15 to 25 kilotons, which would be like the yield of a Hiroshima or a Nagasaki bomb. And also, 6.3 to 5.3 isn't just 20% more, because I think earthquake scale is logarithmic. So 6.3 would be significantly more than 5.3 in terms of the power of that explosion. So this is very important if it's really a 6.3 earthquake. This is incredible. So This is looking, if the 6.3 holds, to be a bigger, unprecedentedly big explosion for a Quake test by them. Let's just keep looking. I'm just looking here to see. See, initial reports had it at 5.2, but the USGS is now here. USGS estimate now up to M6.3. If it holds, would represent a significantly greater yield than previous North Korea tests. And Ankit Panda also says, I'm going to guesstimate this is well into thermonuclear range. H-bomb range. Jeffrey Lewis said, just for reference, 5.6 is 100 kilotons. 6.3 is a megaton? Wow. That's amazing. So if this is a 6.3 is a megaton, USGS saying this was a 6.3. That's a hugely powerful H-bomb. That's the level of a hugely... So 1 megaton is 1,000 kilotons. Nagasaki and Hiroshima were about 15 or 20 kilotons. So you're talking about a bomb that would have 50 times the explosive power of the weapons at Hiroshima and Nagasaki. This is really huge if this holds. Sorry, I'm just sitting this in. So we're just getting all this news. And again, Jeffrey Lewis, who's an arms expert, says if this is a 6.3 earthquake caused by this explosion, and that if it's really a nuclear test, which the South Korean government seems to say when they say this is an artificial earthquake, he calculates that 6.3 would be equivalent to a megaton explosion. That is an enormous... I see this as kind of a game changer. I don't know. This is huge news if they're testing 1 megaton H-bombs. I'm looking up what is the U.S. size of H-bombs. I mean, I don't think thermonuclear weapons... what is the yield of our nuclear weapons? Do we have like... Oh, okay, so the most powerful one the USSR ever developed was 50 megatons, but let's see. We have... I'm just reading an article right here. I'm trying to get some perspective on the yield of this. Our B-83 nuclear bomb has 1.2 megatons. It's hard to get a sort of quick summary. Maybe someone can send me if they find one. Anyways, the point is that if this is a nuclear test of a 1 megaton bomb, that is gigantic. Again, Hiroshima and Nagasaki fission nuclear bombs were about 15 to 20 kilotons. 1 megaton is 1,000 kilotons. So, and I wonder if this is like a game changer. If they tested a 1 megaton hydrogen bomb, thermonuclear weapon, does this change America's calculation? That seems quite provocative to me. That would be huge. All right, let's keep looking at the information coming in here. So again, there was an earthquake, which experts saying it was an artificial earthquake caused by a nuclear test, probably, and it looks like it's now that all right. So here we go. Japan Meteorological Agency puts the magnitude at 6.1. U.S. China have 6.3. Either way, we're looking at an enormous earthquake, reportedly from what experts are saying, is caused by a test of a nuclear weapon, which at these levels would be presumed to be an H-bomb. The time, depth, and location of this magnitude, says Martin Williams, are all pointing to this being a nuclear test, larger weapon than before. DEFCON warning systems say some are reporting that North Korea earthquake was a surface level event. So this was reviewed. USGS concurs now this was a surface level event. Surface level depth 0.0 kilometers. Surface level depth 0.0 kilometers, which I guess suggests that that it's not a deep earthquake. Amazing. I'm just looking at more. This happened at precisely 12 noon local time in North Korea. Precisely 12 noon. Precisely midnight, well, Eastern time here, it looks like. I'm just getting updates here as fast as I can get them. South Korea raises alert level of forces after North Korea nuclear tests. This is standard and no cause of imminent concern. Jeffrey Lewis says 6.3 puts us up around a megaton. That would be a staged thermonuclear weapon, folks. Amazing. It's all going so fast. These are getting intercontinental ballistic missiles, being able to shrink weapons to put them on top of these missiles, testing an H-bomb, and testing a 1 megaton H-bomb, if this is true. These are things that experts thought were going to take a little while, maybe a couple years, a few years, and they're all happening very fast, and it's breathtaking, really, how fast this has all happened. And you have to wonder, is this gonna affect President Trump's decision making? We're talking about them having an enormously powerful weapon here. Again, we're talking about like 50 times the power of the weapons used in Nagasaki and Hiroshima, which devastated those cities. That's the level we're talking about here. So let's step back and let's talk about what happened. Earlier today, about 5 hours ago, North Korea claimed that they had an H-bomb. An H-bomb is a kind of nuclear weapon much more powerful than the weapons used in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Experts thought they didn't have that yet. They claimed they did. They released some photos. They said, we have this. And some experts, I was saying this, and also some experts were saying this, were saying, well, maybe that means in the next few weeks, couple months, they'll actually test an H-bomb because they're claiming that they have one. But only hours later, we were doing a broadcast coverage of this, and late tonight, and then 5 minutes after I get off the air, so around midnight Eastern time, there's this earthquake reported, this magnitude 6.3 explosion, this earthquake that was reported in North Korea, and when they do nuclear tests there, they get the first inkling we get of this is that earthquakes are detected because it's such a huge explosion. And now, from what experts are saying, given that this was a surface level event and not like a deeper event like an earthquake would be, experts seem to think this earthquake was caused, and South Korea released a statement saying it was an artificial earthquake. So experts seem to think this was a nuclear test. And as we just saw, Jeffrey Lewis, who's a weapons expert, says if it's a 6.3, that puts it at around a megaton bomb, which would definitely be an H-bomb, according to him. And a megaton is such a big bomb. The Nagasaki and Hiroshima atomic bombs were about 15 to 20 kilotons. This bomb would be 1,000 kilotons, which is a megaton. So this is a hugely significant thing that has been happening, and it's such a powerful weapon. So anyways, by the way, thank you for a couple of you just made donations. I haven't even had time to just say hello to everybody because we've just been covering this news. B-Rad gave $1 and JC gave $2. Said, I got your back, B-Rad. So just so people know if they're new, we are Right Side Broadcasting. We are viewer supported. So if you enjoy having this coverage on the air and you like it, please consider making a donation because your donations are what allows us to be on the air. You can either go to rsbn.tv/donate, rsbn.tv/donate, or just go to the YouTube chat room next to the broadcast and click on the $ at the bottom of the chat room. Thank you to the moderators for staying up and after doing that last news broadcast, coming right back here, and we have another one going. So it looks like North Korea has tonight, just about 20 minutes ago, tested a 1 megaton H-bomb. Thermonuclear weapon. It's just crazy to think this is happening all so fast. And wow. So let me just, I want to get your comments in a second. So write to me at @Lookner if you have any thoughts on this, at LOOKNER. What do you think about this news? @Lookner on Twitter. What do you think about this news? Do you think this will change what President Trump does? Will we see? I wonder if we're going to see a statement from the White House tonight, or the Defense Department, or the Department of State. But let me just quickly check, and I'll just get you what's latest here. Carl Peterson just gave $4, said back up for parking pass. Thank you, Carl, very much. So Steve Herman says, even if North Korea conducted the test underground or in a tunnel, there's a good chance traces of noble elements, certain kind of chemical elements, can be detected in nearby airspace. And he also says, U.S. Constant Phoenix aircraft will be taking atmospheric samples to try to detect noble gases escaping from North Korea. So the U.S. will be trying to confirm this was a nuclear test. Ankit Panda says, now is not probably a good time to mention that U.S. government sources told me today the most recent missile test they did. Hwasong 12 is one of their missiles. Their most recent reentry vehicle survived till 1 kilometer. And 1 kilometer high, says Shea Cotton, is almost the ideal altitude of a 1 megaton airburst. So they don't go off right at the ground. They go off, I guess, around like 1 kilometer away from the ground. So what they're saying is that, it's possible we talked before how North Korea, one of their last hurdles to being able to hit the United States with a nuclear missile was having the missile and the weapon on top of it survive re-entry into the atmosphere. But Ankit Panda says here, U.S. government sources told him that the most recent re-entry test they did of a missile where they had it come back into the atmosphere survived until it was 1 kilometer above the ground. And then Shea Cotton, who's also a weapons expert, says, well, coincidentally, that's almost the ideal altitude of a 1 megaton airburst. So if they have a 1 megaton weapon, they don't have to have it survive all the way to the ground. So just crazy. Just crazy. I'm just looking at some more updates here. See if there are any more recently. I'll keep checking my feed here to get you more updates. Associated Press now saying, artificial quake in North raises fear of another nuclear test. Brandon Smith just made a donation. Thank you. Brandon says, gave $5, said, CIA wants war to cover up their lies. War benefits Wall Street. Stay tuned. Okay, so I'm going to keep checking what's going on here. But just to summarize here, let me call up one of these tweets so I can leave this up here. So we're looking at what looks like to be a nuclear test of an unprecedentedly large weapon in terms of what unprecedentedly large in terms of what North Korea has. It looks like they very well might have tested an H-bomb that's up to 1 megaton in strength, which is enormous, and doing it just a few hours after they announced that they released these photos. A photo like this. This is one of the photos they released today, and a lot of people were saying, well, we don't know if they're lying. Maybe they're just putting everybody on. We got to check this. And 4 hours later, they do the test. So this is gigantic news. It's really huge news. I'd love to know what you're thinking about this. So write to me at Lookner on Twitter, at LOOKNER. Let me know what you're thinking about all of this. It's really crazy. Let's see. Greg says, I do believe United States capacity of nuclear weapons goes up to 50 megaton. The largest detonated by Russia was 100 megaton. So this wouldn't be like, if this is a 1 megaton bomb, it doesn't reach the kind of maximum strength of weapons we have. But at the same time, as I mentioned before, this would far exceed by like 50 times the weapons used in Nagasaki and Hiroshima. Oh, now Joe just sent me a second seismic event was detected. Wow. Joe just sent me a tweet saying, look at your Twitter, second seismic event detected. Hold on, I'm going to check this out. This could be more news. Some reports of a second quake in North Korea could be an error by the Chinese who are reporting it, investigating. Could they have done 2 tests? I'm going to send this out. Wow, amazing. So we're just seeing some reports of a second quake in North Korea could be an error by the Chinese. Let me just check something real quick, guys. Unreal what's going on tonight. Yeah, China has said they detected a second test. Let's see if I can find that tweet for you. So, this could be a mistake. We don't know. Second quake detected in North Korea at 0 depth. I wonder if they did 2 tests. This is unreal. So I'll keep looking at and seeing what I get. This is Right Side Broadcasting. We are covering live breaking news here. Okay, China is reporting that 8 minutes after the initial detection, they recorded a 4.6 tremor. Now, this wouldn't be as big as the initial tremor. So this would not, if this is true, it would not be nearly as big as a 1 megaton bomb. But maybe they tested 2 different bombs. This would be a collapse event, not expected. This is an interesting tweet. Steve Herman says, this would be a collapse event, not unexpected, considering the size of the likely DPRK nuclear test. So Steve Herman seems to be saying that maybe because of the huge explosion in the first event, that would lead to some kind of collapse, I guess, or some kind of second tremor. I don't know, but that's what he's saying. So maybe we only have 1 test which caused a second earthquake after. Tenemace Lament gave $5 and said, you were the first source I heard this from. Crazy news to break. It is crazy news. We got on the air as soon as we could. If you like our breaking news videos, we come on with them at all hours, at all times. So be sure to subscribe to us on YouTube and click the notifications bell. Although the last couple days, notifications have been working not well, but usually they work well. So click the notifications bell so you get notified right when we come on the air. And as a backup to that, subscribe to us on Twitter at RSB Network. We always post at RSB Network on Twitter when we're going live with a video. And I'm on Twitter at Lookner. I post it too, and I post about a lot of breaking news stuff, as you can see, because I'm still posting during the broadcast at Lookner on Twitter. But write to me at Lookner and let me know what you think about this news that apparently North Korea has tested an H-bomb, very powerful, maybe up to 1 megaton strength, which would be about 50 times the Hiroshima and Nagasaki nuclear bombs. So I'm just going to continue to read my sources and see what else I find here. Again, possible theory on second North Korea earthquake. That this could be this would be a collapse event, not an actual second test. Do we have anything else here? I'm just sort of waiting to see. And Ankit Panda says, as far as the reports of a second seismic event near Pyongyang, however you pronounce it, Pyongyang, are unverified and false as far as I can tell. USGS still has one 6.3 event. So if the USGS, if there was another 4.6 event, it'll eventually get reported by the USGS, and if they're not reporting it, that suggests maybe that China was wrong about this. What else do we have here? It's the first test, as Anna Fifield says. It's the first test, first nuclear test since President Trump took office. They've done 6 nuclear tests ever in North Korea. The last one was last September, but this could be, as I was saying before, the last nuclear test last year was 5.3 in magnitude. This is much bigger, 6.3, and that's on a logarithmic scale, so it's way bigger in terms of the yield of the weapon than the last one. I think the last nuclear test they did, the yield was estimated to be about 20 kilotons. This one, if the 6.3 holds, would be about 1,000 kilotons. And that's just a year later. They've advanced that far in just a year. Okay, so we're going to keep an eye on this, but I also want to see what you guys had to say real quick. So let me do this. Let me go back here and see, while I have a second to breathe, let me read some of your comments. Fish Fry says, who is giving North Korea the raw materials? Well, there's different speculation about this. There's some speculation that Iran, some speculation Russia and China, some speculation they got something from Ukraine. In the New York Times a couple weeks ago, I've heard some complaints about that story. So they claim they got all the materials themselves for their last, for about 4 or 5 hours ago when they released pictures that they said were of their new hydrogen bomb. They claim that they got the materials themselves. It's hard to say. It's hard to say. Mark Harrigan says if they put both the fusion and fission together, it's bigger problems. I believe, so I think it was Jeffrey Lewis who wrote, if it wasn't Jeffrey Lewis, it was one of the other experts I follow, that if this was indeed a 1 megaton test, they think that's a staged thermonuclear weapon, which by staged, I think they mean it has a fission and a fusion bomb, that you start with the fission bomb, that explodes, and that compresses other material, and that produces the even bigger explosion. So I think the experts think this, given the yield, what looks to be the yield, this would be a staged, this would be a H-bomb which has a fission bomb, like the original kind of nuclear bomb, inside it. Joe B just made a $50 donation. Thank you so much, Joe B. We are viewer supported. Viewers are viewer support, like viewer donations is how we stay on the air. That's the vast majority of our operating budget is because the YouTube ad revenue is not much. So really we are supported by you guys. So if you like our broadcasts and you want to keep seeing us do more of them, please consider donating. You can go to rsbn.tv/donate, rsbn.tv/donate, or click on the dollar sign at the bottom of the YouTube chat right next to the broadcast. I want to get to some more of your messages in a second, but I want to keep checking my stream here to see about the news coming in about this. And as we said before, a apparent nuclear test comes hours after North Korea claims leader inspected loading of hydrogen bomb on ICBM. We were talking about that earlier. Fox News now saying Quake in North Korea may have been nuclear test. I have to imagine the news networks are covering this live now correctly. I mean, this is such big news. I have to imagine by now, but I always like to check and see. So I'll check before I go any further. Those of you who've watched me before know I do this kind of thing because I'm kind of obsessed with how mainstream media. Yes, so CNN is covering it, so I assume everybody's covering it. That's good. I'd be really upset if they weren't covering it. This is a huge story. Let's see. Now, North Korea also said, as Gene Lee posts, they also said today, ooh, you couldn't see that. I'll show you it this way. They had boasted today of building an assembly line for nukes, enabling the country to produce powerful nuclear weapons, as many as it wants. So they were claiming today they were able to produce a bunch of H-bombs, not just one. And it looks like they very well have tested one right now. Anna Fifield posts, last year, North Korea said it had tested a hydrogen bomb, and people laughed, as if, well, it looks like they just did or are getting close. Well, it definitely looks like they just did. Joe tells me that Fox and MSNBC are still not covering this story. Really? Hold on a second. I want to look. That's insane if that's true. I have to check this, guys. I'm sorry. It drives me crazy when I see mainstream media not covering these enormous stories. Okay, Fox is not. Fox still has a Judge Jeanine rerun, and MSNBC is now covering it live. So Fox is still the last one on this. They're still not covering it live. Amazing. We're covering it. See if there are updates here. Fine. She says, Jean Lee says, remember that North Korea kicked out International Atomic Energy Association, is it? Inspectors in 2009. In addition to threat and proliferation, we have to worry about nuclear safety. And I guess, does she mean like that they could have like some kind of nuclear facility like explode there or blow up and contaminate like Japan and South Korea and stuff? I could see, that's certainly possible. Who knows what kind of safety controls they have there? But also she talks about proliferation. I want to talk about that for a second, but let me get this up here. So isn't it worrying if North Korea, this rogue state, has an access to a 1 megaton nuclear bomb? Proliferation to me is a huge worry. Couldn't they give that to somebody else if they have one now? They could maybe give it to Iran, a terrorist organization. So very worrying to me that we have this rogue state who has done all kinds of things. Their leader just killed his half-brother, had his half-brother killed in an airport by two women holding, poisonous gas a few months ago. This state apparently now has 1 megaton nuclear weapons, and they certainly need money there. I think proliferation is a huge concern with these weapons. 1 megaton, if this is a 1 megaton test, again, 20 times the size, 50 times what the bombs at Nagasaki and Hiroshima were. That's what we're talking about right now. I want to get to a few of your comments. I'm sorry, I'm a little behind because so much news has been going on. JC says, Steve, just like DACA, bomb the S out of all strategic positions in North Korea and get the illegals out of the U.S. So now, JC, I understand you're very concerned now because they have such powerful weapons. But now you have to wonder, if we take military action against North Korea, might they drop one of these bombs on like Japan or South Korea or Guam or something? I mean, they certainly can reach South Korea. It's right across the border. So, I mean, this is... now, it would be suicidal for them to do so, but still, it's such a worry that they perhaps have such powerful weapons now. Unreal. I'm just looking here. Forza Detroit says, Steve, I received a breaking news alert about it from Fox, kind of. Whereas Fox sent out a breaking news alert saying South Korean military says 5.6 earthquake that hit North Korea was artificial. So maybe they're covering it by now. Polyshop says China's reporting second quake was a collapse. This is not a successive nuclear test. Yeah, we were talking about that theory a few minutes ago. Thank you, Polyshop. And no one else seemed to confirm that. Well, as far as I'm aware, the USGS hasn't said there was a second earthquake. China was reporting it, but no more word on that. I'm looking for more of your messages. Old Guy 1947 writes, and here's an idea. Let's let China invade and take over North Korea. South Korea would probably feel safer. I know I would. Polyshop says that she saw that the South Korea Joint Chiefs of Staff had reportedly said, we are now closely monitoring the trends of the North Korean army in coordination with the U.S. So it looks like again, what we're covering is it looks like about 42 minutes ago, midnight our time, noon South Korea time, midnight Eastern time, South Korea, a huge explosion was detected, a huge earthquake, a 6.3 was detected in North Korea, and experts think this is North Korea testing a hydrogen bomb with a yield, if the earthquake really was a 6.3, which the USGS says it was, that would work out to a yield of around 1 megaton, which would be an enormous hydrogen bomb. Hydrogen bombs are the more powerful kind of nuclear bombs. There are fission bombs and there are hydrogen bombs, and hydrogen bombs are the more powerful of the two. So we're just covering this live. We're reading your comments on the air. Write to me at @Lookner. Let me know what you think about this, and I want to get you some more news. By the way, Steve Ackerman writes, I wouldn't be surprised if North Korea actually tries something, knowing the country is focusing on Texas. Not that we don't have eyes on everything they're doing. The North Korea can has been kicked long enough. It's time to stop them now. And, okay. Let's see what else we got here. If I have any new updates. So AFP is now saying new 4.6 quake detected in North Korea is due to cave-in. That's from China. Polyshop also let us know about this earlier. Thank you, Polyshop, for writing in. So according to China, they're saying a new 4.6 quake detected in North Korea due to cave-in, which I guess you might expect after a huge nuclear test. Let's see. I'm just looking for some more. In case it wasn't clear, the USGS is now calling the event an explosion. Explosion has occurred near the site where North Korea has detonated nuclear explosions in the past. So all signs are pointing to them testing a nuclear weapon tonight, and perhaps an unprecedentedly large 1 megaton H-bomb. And as I said before, I personally am incredibly worried if North Korea, I'm going to even send out a tweet about this now. Sorry. Well, I won't interrupt because I'll have to think of my tweet. But the idea is it's not just, the worry here is not just North Korea having an H-bomb, having an H-bomb. Who could they give it to? I'll say that. I like sending out tweets during the broadcast because some people follow me on Twitter and they're not seeing the broadcast. So also it helps me organize my thoughts a little bit. So the worry here is not just North Korea having an H-bomb, ... Who else might they sell it to? They need money. They're not a wealthy, they're a very poor country. So what if Al-Qaeda offers them a lot of money? What if Iran offers them a lot of money? Even for just the technology. It is extremely worrying to me to have this nation with 1 megaton hydrogen bombs, if that's really what the case is. All right, let's... I just want to put up a tweet that says what happened here. I'm just trying to put up a tweet to have up while I read your comments. Here it is. Okay, well, we'll leave this up for now, and I'll read some more of your comments. Write to me at @Lookner. Write to me at @Lookner with your comments, and I will try to get to all of them. Thank you again to the moderators for working so hard tonight. We just did a whole news report on a live news report on what happened today, where North Korea claimed they had nuclear weapons, claimed they had an H-bomb, and as soon as we get off the air 5 minutes later, we see reports earthquake in North Korea, and experts saying it was an H-bomb test. So it's crazy that this is happening all so fast. And I really wondered if does this make President Trump do something different, change his strategy? I don't know. Fish Fry says Sky News is covering it. Mark Harrigan says they will sell the bomb to a terrorist. JC says, no, Steve, we have countermeasures. I am not worried, but it's time to show our stance on this BS. So Right Side Broadcasting, I guess Joe just tweeted, we are not showing up in the YouTube search results. No one else is live doing this on YouTube, but yet we don't show up at all. Not even searching for North Korea Live or Live North Korea H-Bomb, nothing. So I don't know if YouTube is taking some action against us. So rumor has it is that they're trying to take actions against political sites of some sort, but it's pretty bad if we're doing this broadcast and no one else is live and you literally can't find us on YouTube. That's pretty disgraceful if that's the case. Joe just told me that. I want to do a search right now. I can't really do it right now. Well, I'm going to do it on my phone right now and do a search for North Korea bomb and see what comes up, because I'll be very upset if we're still not coming up. So we've been having problems with our notifications. And, we're just trying to let you look. This is a news broadcast. This is not now I am seeing us. We just did come up. So I just did a search and we did come up here. So maybe that changed and we've started to come up since Joe last tested. That's good. So anyways, we're live. We're going to stay live. And this isn't, look, when we cover news, watch this broadcast. Tell me that this is not a political broadcast. We're just trying to bring you guys the news as up to date as we get it. That's what I'm trying to do here. I'm going to check my different sources, and as soon as I have it, we're going to give it to you. That's our goal here. And if you hear updates about this, as some of our viewers have, write to me at @Lookner. Let me know. We just want to get the news out there as fast as we can. That's what we're trying to do here. I'm going to check the news in a second. I just want to get to a couple more of your comments. Thanks everybody for writing in. Polyshop says she heard a report saying that the nuclear test was felt as far as Dandong, China. Reports of damage along Chinese border with North Korea. Thank you. I'll have to look up that. Woke Patriot, I sent out a message saying, what if they give it to aren't we worried about them giving it to other countries as well or other actors? And she said, Woke Patriot, he or she says, not a ton out there worse than them. Power of USA, in terms of the proliferation worries, says, good question. That is extremely worrisome. North Korea is desperate for money, as we were just talking about here. Let's see here. Okay. I just want to get some more of your messages. Don says, send battleships along the coast. Next time they shoot one, shoot it down. If they do it again, shoot it down and wipe out the missile site it came from. Hey, that is certainly something they could threaten. That is a way the United States could step up what they're doing. They could say, hey, look, from now on, North Korea, we're not going to let you do any more tests. And that's a way of doing something without threatening military action, without taking the action yet. Maybe we'll see something like that happen. I'm going to do a quick check here and see if there is any more news that just came out about this. Checking all my sources here. Ankit Panda says, China Earthquake Administration's 4.6 recording of an earthquake after the initial test earthquake seems to concern a cave-in. This should be viewable via satellite. So maybe we'll be able to verify this later. If there was a cave-in, the idea would be they do this test. It's a huge 1 megaton explosion, a second earthquake. And Ankit Panda also says, let me show you here. If it's true that there was this second second earthquake after the first one, he says North Korea's attempts at venting prevention. So preventing, I guess they try to prevent the nuclear material from getting out in the open when they do a test. They do it underground. He says their attempts at venting prevention may have failed entirely, and U.S. Air Force planes should be able to pick up quite a bit of this radiation coming out. Now, James McDonald says, I just searched you. You're not on YouTube. I searched YouTube. You're not there unless I put in right side. Nothing else brings you up. Also, Fox just went live on this. So, yeah, we're concerned that people aren't able to find our broadcast because they're not finding us in the searches. So, But we're going to keep broadcasting anyway. We think this is really important. If you are watching on Facebook, feel free to share this video. Let people know we're covering it. If you're watching on YouTube, feel free to like this video. That'll help tell YouTube, hey, people like this video, so we should let other people know about this video. Let's see here. This report from Janice Mackey Fryer. Japan is dispatching sniffer jets to detect traces of radiation after mounting evidence North Korea has conducted 6 nuclear tests. That's from NBC News. And so reportedly, U.S. planes will be doing the same thing right now. So Ankit Panda says, I'm still skeptical that there was a cave-in that'd generate a 4.6 event and USGS would have zilch. Tread carefully from now. So what he's saying is if there was really a 4.6 earthquake on the Richter scale, the USGS should have something up saying there was a 4.6 earthquake and they don't have anything up yet. So maybe there wasn't such an event. Okay, I want to get to some of your messages here. South Korea is saying, by the way, the South Korea Joint Chiefs of Staff are saying North Korea is presumed to have conducted its 6th nuclear test. As I mentioned before, we come on with these breaking videos at all hours, at all the time. As you can see, we came on around like after midnight tonight Eastern time. If you want to find out when we're coming on with these videos, I would suggest subscribe to us on YouTube and click the notifications bell so you get notifications. But also, I would suggest, because once in a while they have some issues with their notifications at YouTube, follow us on Twitter at RSB Network, or you can follow me on Twitter at Lookner, because I tweet out when we're coming on live too, at LOOKNER. And I also tweet out about a lot of breaking news stuff if you like that. Clovis writes, if this is true about North Korea, why didn't we intercept like before? So I think you might be saying more generally, why haven't we taken action before on this? Or intercepted their missile tests or something. Liam Inia says, bear in mind, Steve, that North Korea has no income tax and is in debt. Therefore, their tax receipts are generally low. If they could, in the span of a few months, develop an ICBM and an H-bomb, an enemy of ours must be funneling money to them. So Liam thinks, look, if they're not that rich of a country, this costs money to develop this stuff, so somebody's got to be funneling them money. Let's see. Old guy 1947 says the U.S. doesn't have any battleships. We use Aegis cruisers now with a combat fleet. Maybe you're responding to a tweet or something. I didn't mention battleships. David, one of our viewers, says anything North Korea has will be available in Iran within a week. Badger Fool says, you at Right Side are coming up fine when he searches North Korea and filter for live videos. Also, he says it's the first item on, I guess, his homepage. So that's something. So Polyshop saw a quote from the Japan Prime Minister Abe, which says, a North Korean thermonuclear test is absolutely unacceptable and we cannot tolerate it. Now, I believe also, though, Japan said they weren't going to tolerate tested missiles being shot over Japan, but they were shot over Japan last week. Oh, thank you. So I think at the Donald Reddit stuck this coverage to the top. According to SH7401, they stuck it to the top of their bulletin board, their board there, which is very nice of them. Reno Robinson says China, which I think means Reno Robinson thinks that China is helping them, develop these weapons. Again, if you have comments on this, have thoughts on it, write to me at Lookner on Twitter, at LOOKNER, and I'll try to read your comment on the air. Bren Kitchen says, there's this whole debate as to whether YouTube is blocking Right Side. Some people say yes, some people say no. The Morph Project says, what if another country like China or Iran is paying North Korea to test their weapons? So I guess, China, I think, can conduct Well, I don't think does China still conduct tests? Maybe they don't. A lot of countries don't do testing nowadays, but China has plenty of nuclear weapons. But it's interesting. You say, could Iran be paying North Korea to develop nuclear weapons for Iran? Is that what you're saying? Interesting thought. The Morth Project. Eric Cicino says, what if this quake in North Korea was an American surgical strike on a North Korean military facility? So I would think if that happened, we would have some word about it. By now, also, I believe North Korea might have made some announcement on North Korean TV. I'm not sure about this thing. And also remember, North Korea did announce earlier today that they had an H-bomb. So it would seem like everything seems to point to this being a test and not some kind of like unplanned explosion within North Korea, at least as far as I can see. Laxi says it ain't easy to sell nukes, especially the launch technology part. Kim Jong-un would not want to have his ass nuked for someone using his equipment. So that's according to Laxi. Babak says, sorry, I never got a notification. You're alive. Thanks, Babak. Yeah, and Babak, they've been having issues with notifications the last couple days with YouTube not sending out notifications that people are supposed to get. Okay, let's I want to see if there's more news updates here. Okay. Jeffrey Lewis is now saying he thinks it might only be quote unquote only a few hundred kilotons depending on depth. So we could have a weapon of several under 100 kilotons instead of 1 megaton, which would still be an enormous weapon, many times as powerful as the Hiroshima and Nagasaki weapons. So, but perhaps it's not a megaton. So Jeffrey Lewis says that means it's perhaps only a few hundred kilotons depending on depth. Then he also says still a staged thermonuclear weapon. Interesting tweet from Steve Herman. He says, what TV screens in South Korea and Japan look like right now. So in South Korea, we have this. That's what's on TV in South Korea right now, where the shots of their army. And in Japan, a guy talking. I assume he's talking about this news, though. Yes, and here's that quote that one of our viewers just sent. Will Ripley from CNN says, Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe says, if North Korea did indeed conduct a nuclear test, we absolutely cannot tolerate it. Now, will they do anything about it? I'm not so sure. So we are covering right now live. Apparently, North Korea has done their 6th nuclear test ever tonight. Experts are saying this was much more powerful than any test they had done before. Experts are suggesting this looks like a thermonuclear weapon, a hydrogen bomb, an H-bomb, which is at least several hundred kilotons in strength, which would be many times more powerful than the Hiroshima and Nagasaki bombs, which are only about 15, 20 kilotons. This was what happened is an earthquake was detected there in North Korea, but it was experts say that earthquake was such to be it was at no surface depth, and basically all the signs are pointing to this earthquake being caused by a nuclear test, and that does happen when they do nuclear tests there. It causes an earthquake. So we're covering this. We're reading your comments on the air. If you have and by the way, that says 5.2, but we're talking now about more like 6.3 or so. I'll see if I can find it here. Yeah, 6.3 tremor. And experts are saying this was a nuclear test. So we're taking comments from you. If you like our coverage, we hope you consider donating, because we can only be on the air covering this stuff and do breaking news coverage and do all our other coverage thanks to your donations. So if you like the coverage, please consider making a donation. We try to bring you agenda-free coverage of breaking news. We try to just bring you coverage of breaking news where we're giving you literally the latest stuff, even rumors. We'll say it's a rumor, but we'll give it to you. So we try to just give you the most up-to-date information there is out there. So if you like that, please consider donating. If you want to donate, you can go to rsbn.tv/donate, rsbn.tv/donate, or you can click on the $ sign at the bottom of the YouTube chat right next to the broadcast. I am on Twitter at Lookner. Reach out to me if you have any comments about this. We've been reading your comments. We're going to read some more in a second. Also, don't forget to subscribe to Right Side Broadcasting on YouTube so you can get notifications about our videos like this, and click the notifications bell. And also, follow us on Twitter at RSB Network, where we also post, hey, we're going to come on live with a breaking video right now. So even if notifications don't work, which once in a while they don't do, if you're following us on Twitter or following me on Twitter, you'll get informed about our videos. Okay, this is huge news if North Korea really does have an H-bomb that's H-bomb for one, and also an H-bomb that's at least several hundred kilotons, which is crazy to think about. I'm going to read some more of your questions right now, more of your comments. Let's see. America First says North Korea is doing exactly what China wants. That's what America First believes. Checking for more comments here. Clyde Dylan Womack says, check other earthquake models other than USGS. They have been caught lying about earthquakes. Check the European models. Well, I heard another, who was it who had it? Was it Europe? Somebody else, or maybe Japan had it at like 6.1 or 6.2. So there does seem to be some wide consensus on the general strength of this earthquake. The Last Refuge says the question is not who might they give it to. The question is who did they get it from? Russian, Chinese, or Pakistan? That's what The Last Refuge says. Dustin Cottonware says, need to put an end to their madness and carelessness pronto. Andrew Jensen says, oh, this wasn't in response to me. Badger Fool says, maybe the Clinton Foundation is funding North Korea these days. Who knows? Haha. I have heard no reports that the Clinton Foundation is funding North Korea. Jenny Simon says, I think the failed tests were a farce. They have had the technology for a while, in my opinion. That's what I would do. Fake out till time is right. Interesting theory, Jenny. Let's see here. More comments. Reagan Betters thinks we will see a statement from President Trump soon. Will we see one in the next coming minutes? Liam Inia says, Steve, thanks for reading my comment on RSBN, an honor. The North Korean threat is purely psychological. It is a mental game being played on the president. Threaten the United States but never attack, and when the U.S. shoots down a missile, initiate war on the basis of that action. War is imminent. I hope not, Liam. Okay, let's get back and see if there's more updates, news updates about this. This is Right Side Broadcasting's coverage of apparently North Korea tonight testing a very powerful H-bomb, more powerful than any weapon they've ever had before. Gene Lee says, oops, I'll show you here. Kim Jong-un figures payoff is worth it. Huge celebrations at home on Founding Day on September 9th. Panic abroad. Stronger hand in future negotiations. She also says, had presumed that China was leading heavily on North Korea to refrain from nuclear test. Apparently not even Beijing has Pyongyang's ear. Now I know some of you might disagree with this. And we have the black YouTube screen again, apparently. Unbelievable. There we go. Sorry, folks. We just disappeared for a second. There was a black screen. This is something that's been happening with YouTube the last few days. Ever since they did their update, we've had these broadcasts where in the middle of the broadcast, there's a black screen for 5 seconds. It's not on our end. We're sending out our signal fine. It's a black screen from YouTube. We apologize. We wrote to them about this. We explained this issue is happening. So we hope this doesn't keep happening here. We want to just keep bringing you updates in the news. That's all we're doing here is bringing you the news. Okay, let's keep going here. So, I've been checking to see if there's more information that came out. Ankit Panda is saying, second 4.6 seismic event reported by China Earthquake Administration, likely incorrect. So it's likely incorrect that there was a second 4.6 earthquake. Let's see. I'm just trying to figure out anything new here. This is a really interesting tweet. North Korea's nuclear tests have never posed a radiation risk to Japan before if cave-in watch wind patterns. So what she's saying is this. North Korea, when they do their nuclear tests, do them underground, and they can try to contain the radiation. If what happened is this test was so powerful that there was some sort of cave-in, it's possible that radiation leaked out into the air. And now North Korea is so close to South Korea and Japan. Could you have radiation? If I was in South Korea and Japan, I'd be kind of worried now and say like, wait, did radiation get away from this test and now it's blowing over here? So that's what Melissa Hanham is talking about right now. That's certainly a worry. I mean, what if there was a nuclear test in Mexico? Wouldn't you be worried like, wait, they just did this nuclear test there and like, there could have been radiation coming out of there. Now it's like blowing over here. So that is certainly a worry. Comprehensive Test Ban Treaty Organization tells Barbara Starr CNN 30 global seismic stations picked up North Korea quake, indicating how large it was. 30 global stations picked up that nuclear test. That's how powerful it is. You can feel it around the world. Okay, I'll keep checking these. I'm going to go put this tweet back up there. Where is it? Where was it? I'm going to put this back up there. That wasn't the one I wanted. I wanted this one back up there. Okay, this is Right Side Broadcasting. We're covering this ongoing news, getting you the latest updates about this apparent North Korea test of a hydrogen bomb, possibly several hundred kilotons in strength. That's not the right word, but I can't think of the right word. And also in explosive strength. And we heard estimates several hundred kilotons, maybe up to a megaton. Remember, the Nagasaki and Hiroshima bombs were only about 15 to 20 kilotons. This is an enormously powerful bomb that they appear to have tested. Let's assume they have tested it, given what all the experts are saying. So do you think this really changes things significantly? Does President Trump, is there going to be a strategy change? Will we hear from the White House tonight? Will we hear from the Department of State, from the Secretary of State? I haven't heard anything yet. We're checking. So I really want to see if we're going to hear from anybody tonight on this. But if you have comments, write to me on Twitter at Lookner, at Lookner, and I can read your comment on the air. Also, if you enjoy our coverage, please consider donating because we are a viewer-supported network. If you want to donate, go to rsbn.tv/donate, rsbn.tv/donate, or just click on the $ at the bottom of the YouTube chat. And even small donations are totally welcome because we really do rely on you to stay on the air. Fayez said, could the explosion be a test failure in the middle, exploded right after launching? So Fayez, from what I've heard, this test was conducted near where they've conducted nuclear tests before. So the experts seem to think that the data to the experts is similar to nuclear tests in the past, although much stronger. So it looks like this was just a nuclear test and not some kind of failed launch or something. Looking over your messages here. Witcher King says if there was radiation leaked out, it would go to Japan and move to China, given the wind reports you're seeing. Hey, we should look at Windy. Windy I looked at during the hurricane. Windy.com. It tells you where all the wind is. Okay, let's zoom over to Korea, North Korea. I can't tell. It's hard to see the outlines here. Here we go. Here's the Korean Peninsula, right? Why is it? This is so confusing. There's Japan. Oh, I'm sorry. I was because I was too far down. There we go. There's Korean Peninsula. So the winds. I don't know if this tells us much here. So these are the winds in North Korea right now. They seem to be blowing across North Korea to the right. but then they blow upwards at the coast they blow upwards. Now I'm not a meteorologist, but does this mean that they'll blow up toward China? Doesn't look like they're going to blow towards South Korea. Now also there's this rotating wind here, this rotating thing, and with this you can see that the rotation takes wind. The wind pattern is clockwise from South Korea or some of North Korea to Japan. So it looks like, look, I mean, wind-wise, who knows? Maybe if there's radiation, some of it blows to China, maybe some of it blows to Japan, maybe some of it goes to South Korea. I don't know. But I would be worried, certainly, if I personally was in one of these places. And maybe that's because I don't know anything and I shouldn't be worried. But, I mean, they tested a giant nuclear weapon, several hundred megatons, several hundred kilotons, or maybe even up to 1 megaton. Maybe some of it leaked out in spite of their containment efforts. So you could have radiation leaking out. That is a huge concern. Polyshop is saying Chinese tweeters are now saying earthquake from North Korea bomb has caused some damage on the border. I'll keep an eye to see if I hear anything more about that. Armando Latour says the 6.3 for this earthquake, which he says the 6.3 for this earthquake is 30 times more powerful than the 5.3 for the earthquake caused by the last test. I don't know that math, but I'm not going to doubt you. Well, Armando, I'm not going to immediately say you're wrong because I do know it's a logarithmic scale, so it wouldn't surprise me if it was that much more powerful than the last one. David Leifert says, I'd asked, like, who might they sell it to? The question was, I said, who else might they give it to? And somebody else said, who gave it to them? And then David Leifert says, no, that question was. The question now is, who will they sell it to? So David Leifert thinks they might sell this kind of weapon to somebody. CJ says, I hope North Korea is not setting up for something big with September 11th coming up in 8 days. Martin Lipton says, European Earthquake Agency only reporting a 5.9 currently. To me, I think it's an underground test equals little to no fallout. Possibly, we don't know. Thanks for writing in. Ryan says, I'm sure China will help us now that I'm sure China will help us now that a thermonuclear North Korea is on their back door. Andy Carlson says, look at this map. It was only 54 miles from the China border. I should look at the map where the earthquake was. If I can find it here. Let's see if I can find that map. That's a good idea. Recent, oops, I spelled it wrong, world earthquakes. Okay, we go to the USGS. We go to let's just go over there and see if it has it up there. There's the North Korea one. So if you look at the North Korea earthquake where it was, that's supposedly where it was, according to the USGS. They call it an explosion. See, USGS, they don't even say earthquake, they say explosion because they're convinced it was an explosion. And that is very close to the China border is just north of there. So it does look about 50 miles or so. If you look at the scale at the bottom, I can see the scale at the bottom. It looks about 50 miles from the Chinese border that they conducted this nuclear test. See if there's any more news here on this. Both South Korea and Japan, oops, you can't see that. Now you can. BNO News says, both South Korea and Japan have determined that the earthquake in North Korea was a nuclear test. Okay, so we have this tweet. Apparently, China scrambling jets in northeast of country, informed sources told me. And then we have this. Ankit Panda saying, this is likely cautionary, but worth watching closely. China's reaction and intermediate aftermath will be important. Will China come out very negatively against North Korea, or will they not? I agree with Ankit Panda. It's really important to watch. What will China say in response to this? What will China's reaction be? Let me know if you have a theory on this. At Lookner on Twitter. At Lookner on Twitter. That's where you can write to me. And I'll try to read your comment on the air. So Ankit Panda also says, you can see there, not to make a bad day worse, but this line from earlier in the day from North Korea's news agency stuck with me. They said earlier in the day, they showed a photo and they said Kim Jong-un watched an H-bomb loaded onto a new ICBM. So, and Ankit Panda says they might need a September 9th activity. So does Ankit Panda seems to be saying maybe they'll try to test one of these weapons on a missile or something, or do like another ICBM test? I mean, I can't imagine. Is the idea that they would shoot off a missile with an H-bomb on it and then explode it like in the atmosphere somewhere or something? I'm not sure. I'm not sure what he's getting at here. You know, shoot it out into space and explode it? I'm not sure what the possibilities are. Oops. Sorry. Let's see what other news we have here. If we can get you more. According to CNN, Japanese foreign minister says tremors detected in North Korea were a nuclear test. What does this say? Okay, let me get to some more of your messages. A bunch of you have sent me messages. Polyshop says she has heard that China is to deploy Zephyr drones to test for radiation after a nuclear explosion in North Korea. So we already heard that Japan and America are sending planes to the region, and they send it to detect radiation because that helps them figure out what was tested exactly. Maybe China is doing so too. I wouldn't be surprised. Gab I Rock Shocks writes in. If that was an H-bomb, we would have sniffed the required hydrogen isotopes years ago. How long did Obama know they were developing an H-bomb? American Satanist says, or China allows North Korea to do what it will, as they are the junkyard dog of the far superior nation. China is not their target. So American Satanist thinks that China is cool with this, and they're on board. Moores said, good on North Korea for standing up against American imperialism. David Fox says, should have everyone subscribe to your YouTube channel to show strength by numbers. I think what you're saying, David, is, you know, that there have been these rumors out there that YouTube is like cracking down on political channels and not like putting them in searches and stuff like that. So, you know, I have no evidence they're doing that to us. They might be having some issues with their new, the makeover of the site that they did a few days ago. But at the same time, we would love you to subscribe to us, just because that way you can find out when we're coming on the air and doing videos. So if you want to know when we're doing these live breaking news videos, subscribe to us on YouTube and click the notifications bell. That way you'll get a notification whenever we come on the air, unless it's a day like today where the notifications were acting kind of funky. But also, you can, as a backup, follow us on Twitter at RSB Network, because we talk about it. We always send out links to our videos when they're going live on our Twitter. And you can follow me on Twitter at Lookner, at Lookner, at Lookner, and I cover a lot of breaking news stuff if people like that kind of thing. Brandon Reynolds says South Korea and Japan have confirmed it, as we talked about before. Michael Root says the market isn't going to like this on Monday. Very possibly. Let me check my news here. Thank you again to the moderators for working so hard tonight. We did a whole broadcast right before this test happened. We did a whole broadcast talking about the developments earlier in the day with North Korea. And right as we got off, this happened. So we've been on again. We come on whenever breaking news happens. Elise Hu reiterates, while largely expected, this is the first North Korean nuclear test under the Trump administration. My post. Well, we were speculating on the broadcast earlier today. You know, there hadn't been a nuclear test of a nuclear weapon under President Trump's administration, and we were speculating, like, if that happened, would that change how President Trump acts? And I honestly don't know. I'm really interested in seeing if we're going to hear something from the White House or from the U.S. government tonight, and I haven't seen anything yet. Let me know if you hear anything. Write to me on Twitter @Lookner. But I would think we hear something of some sort. I would think. Oh, so Armando Latour just sent me a message that Trump just tweeted and has nothing to do with North Korea. Let's check this out. So 7 minutes ago, that's interesting. This was 7 minutes ago from President Trump, where he said, "So much spirit in LA. Thank you to all of our heroes who saved many, many lives." Hold on. And I should notice, this often happens with President Trump, where there's an initial misspelling. Heroes, I'm guessing there will be another tweet where the spelling is corrected. But it is very interesting that this tweet has nothing about North Korea. So thanks, Armando, for letting me know. So there you have it. Now maybe he could be sending a bunch of tweets. We might see a North Korea tweet soon. He's awake apparently, so we'll see if we see a North Korea tweet. Sky News also reporting on this, that Japan's government says, Japan's government is saying that this was a nuclear test, and I should update. Well, I think I'm gonna leave that lower third down there because we're not sure it was an H-bomb yet, and it's very significant if this was an H-bomb. Deplorable Bigley says, has North Korea confirmed this test, or could we be blamed for this? We as in the USA. From everything the experts are saying, all the signs here are similar to their previous tests. So I don't know if North Korea has officially said anything about this, but from everything I'm gathering, it just seems like it's a nuclear test because so many people are saying this looks like previous ones in certain ways. So that, I think, is our best bet. And also, again, Japan and South Korea are saying they think it's a nuclear test too. If you have thoughts about this, write to me on Twitter @Lookner. Oh, I got a couple messages here, a couple emails. Let's see here. Greg writes in, he sent me an earthquake map. Thank you, Greg Jackson. Greg says, I believe you need 1,000 watching before it shows up in search. That's what I heard from a YouTuber. I don't believe that's the case because you can search, and I sometimes search and find a lot of views, a lot of videos. Sorry, we've been on the air and it's late and it's like I can't even talk anymore. I've seen a lot of videos of less than that viewership come up in searches. But thank you for writing, Greg. All right, let's do. I keep wanting to check. I wonder, is there a Reddit live stream on this story? I like when there are. No, there isn't. I'll keep checking this news here. This is important. Japan's Environment Ministry reports no elevated radioactivity in Japan so far, but is increasing monitoring state activity to ensure safety. So at least so far, no elevated radioactivity in Japan so far. That's good news. So we're just covering this here. We're going to stay on for a little while because I really want to know if we're going to hear more reaction from China, from the U.S. Sorry, I'm just getting that previous. Where was this one up on the screen? We just got a donation of $50 from Deb Blue and says, and Dabu. Dabu says, I love this news format. This nuclear test, thank you. This nuclear test is very serious and it changes everything. The real question is, how do they use this in terms of holding the world hostage? What is their game? Also, who might they sell the knowledge to? I agree with all your concerns, Dabu. This is really serious. And unless they're stopped, they're just going to make more of these weapons now and more powerful weapons. And you might have Kim Jong-un with like this arsenal of incredibly powerful nuclear weapons that can just destroy huge metropolitan areas, and that he could in theory sell to somebody. So, I mean, this is getting very, very, very serious, and it's gotten serious so fast. Experts thought this would be years before they made all these steps and all this progress. So, very serious issue for President Trump to have to deal with now. Thanks again for the donation, Dabu. We really appreciate that. Those donations are why we can stay on the air and give you an alternative to mainstream media coverage. So if you like our coverage, even small donations are welcome. If you want to donate, rsbn.tv/donate, rsbn.tv/donate, or click on the $ at the bottom of the YouTube chat. See if any more messages here. Martin Lipton says, apparently there's a plane flying over the actual site. Now, I don't know if that's a commercial plane or if that's a monitoring plane, but it's reportedly monitoring planes. You're saying there's a plane actually flying over that exact site. So I can't really speak to that because I don't really know where that plane is from. Thanks for letting me know, though. Ryan says, world has tolerated nuclear North Korea. Do we tolerate a thermonuclear North Korea if this proves to be a hydrogen test? It's a great question. I mean, as we've been saying all night, this looks to be a H-bomb. It looks to be, from what the experts are saying, a bomb with at least several hundred kilotons of explosive strength. Nagasaki and Hiroshima, powerful bombs, of course, 15 to 20 kilotons. So this bomb looks to be, 10, 15, 20 times as powerful as those, if not more. And also you have to imagine that if this is a hydrogen bomb, they can eventually ramp up how powerful these things are and make it even more powerful. So it's extraordinarily worrisome. And I don't know if at a certain point this changes anything. I just don't know. Okay, just looking at your messages here. Sarah Womack writes, South Korea, she heard South Korea will hold a National Security Council meeting at 12:30 a.m. Eastern Time, which I guess already happened, to discuss the incident, according to South Korea's presidential office. They do have those, whenever North Korea does something provocative, they pretty much always have a meeting, as far as I'm aware, right afterwards. So not surprising that they're holding this meeting. Linda House says, you were in my YouTube suggestions, but not my notifications. Yeah, we are reaching out to YouTube. We're contacting them about these issues. Let's see. I've gotten several. Big Rob ATX asked me a question we've been asked before. Was this a missile malfunction on a launch pad or possible U.S. intervention? I'll repeat. All the experts that I've read are saying this has the signatures of previous tests. So, and Japan said it's another test, and South Korea said it's another test. I think it's safe to say right now this is a nuclear test and not some kind of accident. Nasty Canasta says, 6 minutes ago, our screen just went black for 30 seconds again. We apologize. It's not on our end. Ever since YouTube changed their system a few days ago and changed their site a bit, we've been having these really stupid black screens that are not our fault for 30 seconds. We contacted them about this. We'll contact them again about this. It's really annoying and we're sorry. Just know if the screen goes black with a YouTube logo, we're going to come back. It's not our fault, and it happens once in a while, so don't think we're off the air. It lasts about 30 seconds and it comes back, so we're really sorry. Clinton body count, a fair point, says, keep in mind other people tweet on Trump's Twitter. It's not always Trump himself. So he might not be awake now. Well, I think he approves of the tweets. I'm guessing there's some sort of system, even if somebody else actually types it in at some point, that he's approving of it. If that happens, I'm not sure. But at the same time, that had a misspelling in it, which I would think suggests that maybe he actually tweeted it himself, which is fine. I don't mind misspellings if he misspells stuff, because I think that shows he's actually tweeting. So I always prefer to hear from politicians themselves rather than advisors who've tested things with focus groups. Now, but the tweets usually get corrected when they have mistakes in them. So, but a fair enough point. We don't know that was him literally typing. Mark Hurrigan says there's something funny going on with this. North Korea is too bold. Liam Ania says North Korea has already tested an H-bomb they did in January of 2016. Well, the experts I've been reading say that they claim that was an H-bomb, but it wasn't an H-bomb. That's the general consensus among experts, is that that was not an H-bomb that they tested in January 2016. P. Tudsbury, I got your tweet about Japan confirming North Korea conducted a nuclear test. We were just black again for a minute. I can't believe this is happening. I'm texting Joe. Guys, all I can say is it's not our fault that we're going black. It's not our fault. Things are fine on our end. This started happening a few days ago. It's infuriating. I totally apologize. It's not our fault. YouTube is doing something. We've messaged them about this. We haven't heard back from them about it. We'll message them again about it. It's really upsetting to us. We hate that it happens, but we're very sorry that it's happening. It's really annoying. So it never used to happen before, and it's happening now. I don't know why it's happening. Going to black. So we'll message them about it again. I'm telling Joe. I'm texting our boss Joe about this because he knows it's happening too. Jenny Simon says France 24 just said the U.S. now thinks North Korea has over 60 nuclear weapons. Called it. Yeah, and actually we heard that report came out a couple of months ago. There was a report either a month or two ago from U.S. intelligence that was released. There were reports that U.S. intelligence had concluded that North Korea has around 60 nuclear weapons. So that was out a little while ago. But that's definitely scary to think of them having a lot of these nuclear weapons, and not just one. Shane Lougheed says it's actually not the level of a hugely powerful H-bomb. It's a gimmick to make it look like so, to play high-level chess with real lives. I'm not sure about that because, Shane, the missile experts I've seen, the weapons experts are saying this looks like a powerful nuclear bomb, H-bomb that they're testing. So if they're doing something, it's got to be a very good kind of ruse to fool the experts that I've seen. And I'm just going off of what I've seen them saying. Well, let me check the news again. Right Side Broadcasting, we are doing live coverage of this really big nuclear test. Looks like an H-bomb that North Korea apparently did tonight. This just in, North Korea says it will make a special announcement at 1500 hours Pyongyang time. North Korea will make a special announcement. What time is it now? There. 53 minutes from now. North Korea, I'm going to type it out for people following. That is at to make special announcement. Actually, it says it's, yeah, they're on like a half hour off. So North Korea to make special announcement. And that would be at 53 minutes from now. That would be at, looks like 2:30 a.m. Eastern, 2:30 a.m. ET. Well, in 53 minutes, I guess we'll try to stay on that long. North Korea is going to be making a special announcement. What do you think it is? I'm guessing it might be something like they did with the ICBM test, where they say, see, we're glad to announce we now have developed hydrogen bombs and we can unleash fury all over the world, or something like that. So that's happening. Again, North Korea says it will make important announcement at 3 p.m. local time, 2:30 a.m. ET. So we're going to stay on the air. We'll stay on the air. We'll stay on the air until then. No question. We'll stay on the air until then. So much happening. So much happening right now. This is Right Side Broadcasting. We're covering this nuclear test. I got to change the lower third. It's driving me crazy now. We got to update that. Let me change it. Give me 1 sec, guys, because it'll keep driving me crazy. I don't know if this is going to fit, but I'm going to try. Oh, I'll make it fit. I think this is going to work. Sorry, folks. I just want to get this up here. Did it fit? Yes, it fit. North Korea conducts nuke test, possibly H-bomb. That's better. Okay, so this is Right Side Broadcasting. We're covering this news. It's breaking news, and 50 minutes from now, 5-0, North Korea will make a special announcement, which we will cover as it happens. I'll try to find some video of it somewhere, although they won't be speaking English. But in the meantime, we're going to keep you posted on all the latest news that's going on, and we're taking your comments on the air and reading them on the air. So if you have any comments on this nuclear test, on what you think the announcement will be, on do you think this nuclear test will affect President Trump's policy going forward, message me on Twitter @Lookner, and I can read your comment on the air. Also, just a heads up, we're having issues with YouTube where once in every few minutes, for some reason I couldn't tell you, the screen goes black with the YouTube logo. If you see the screen go black with the YouTube logo, we are still on the air. It happens for 30 seconds. It's not in our hands. It's coming from YouTube. Maybe it's just some kind of mistake that's happening there. But just know, if you see the logo go black, if you see us go black to a YouTube logo, we're coming back on in 30 seconds. We apologize, it's not us. So just a heads up. And to get notifications in the future about when we're going on there with these videos, if you want to know, hey, I want to find out when you guys are going on late at night with a breaking news video, subscribe to us on YouTube and click the notifications bell, and follow us on Twitter at @RSB Network. All right, I want to get some of your messages. So much going on. Dave30959 says, that idiot in North Korea better stop, or China better step up now. Michael says, bottom line is YouTube is censoring your live stream. Could be, we don't know. Andy Carlson says, liberal YouTube is blacking you out. YouTube is run by the left. This is why. And now I guess the chat is stopped. Temporarily, the chat is stopped, but that, by the way, this just started happening a few days ago. Once in a while, the chat stops, so we will. Usually, it comes right back. So again, if you see the chat stop, or give it a minute. If you see a black logo on the screen, give it a minute. It should be fine after. And I'm just talking to Joe for a second. Aquanod says, thanks, Steve. Watching live now. My go-to earthquake expert says it wasn't natural. Here's its channel. Here's his channel. So I'm not going to go to the channel now because I'm not sure like if he allows his channel to be broadcast somewhere else. But thank you. I'll check it out later. I'll try to check it out later if I'm still awake. Terrence Wolf says, dogs that heel when you jerk the chain are okay. When they turn and bite you, it's time to put them down. Jeffrey Moore says the North Korea announcement is going to be, please drop nukes on us and kill all our children also. Ha! I spelled possibly wrong. Oh no. I thought I had spell checked it, but I didn't. I'm sorry, folks. I'll correct that. Thank you, Badger Fool, for telling me. This is what happens when you do things on the fly. You make mistakes. But you know what? I'd rather change it on the fly and have it be updated headline. There we go. All is right with the world. I remember I did a live stream several months ago. It was probably like February or something, where I misspelled president. And at that time I couldn't see the screen and it was up there the whole time. Thanks, Badger Fool, for letting me know. I'm sure people in the chat were talking about it, but actually the chat is back working again. But it's so busy here, I haven't been able to look at the chat much. More messages from you guys. David says the announcement will be that it's an earthquake. Don't be so disappointed. I don't think it will be, David, but we'll see what the announcement is. Okay. Polyshop said she heard something about an undersea cable being cut off and Hong Kong internet is slow and dropouts everywhere. I have not heard anything about this. If I see anything about it, I'll let you know. CJ says, I wonder if North Korea ever tested an EMP attack. I know nothing about it. I know it would probably be very difficult to carry off. But have they done any kind of, have they done any kind of testing regarding this? I have no idea. Okay, let's just see if there's more news here. We haven't checked the news for a little while. To remind you guys, real quick, if you see a black screen on this broadcast for like a YouTube logo, it's not us. It's an issue with YouTube tonight where we haven't gone off the air. Just give it a few seconds and we'll come back. So Ankit Panda thinks that North Korea's announcement is going to be the official announcement about tonight's test, which would make sense because when they did an ICBM test, their first one ever, they did an announcement about the test right after. So I would anticipate they're just going to announce that they tested an H-bomb, probably. Japan will call for an emergency session of the UN Security Council, foreign minister says. I mean, the thing is, though, at a certain point, at this point, like, they've had so many UN Security Council sessions, they've had sanctions. I just, unless something really changes, it doesn't seem like anything's going to affect North Korea. I mean, it's like, it feels like for them to stop developing their weapons at this breakneck pace, something's really going to have to change, like big change. But, I certainly think they should have a UN Security Council meeting, but it's just at a certain point, it seems that they're not at all deterred by anything Western countries are threatening or doing right now. And again, Japanese cabinet secretary condemning North Korea's provocative acts in the strongest terms. But I think at this point, either something's going to really change with countries like the U.S., South Korea, Japan, maybe even China. Something's going to really change with their policy towards North Korea, or we're off into North Korea develops lots and lots of H-bombs land. Joshua Smith writes, and many of my fellow libertarians will refuse to believe any of this until one is dropped on the U.S., then too late. Polly Shop says, she heard that Russian media reported the earthquake shook Vladivostok, many city residents, around 1:30 p.m. Julie Corp sent me a tweet from Patriot 24/7 that said that Yonhap was reporting that South Korea Parliament Defense Committee chair said the nuclear blast yield was likely 100 kilotons, which would be, 5 times the Nagasaki bomb. But I haven't heard. I've heard different amounts of what people think the strength of this blast might be. Jake Tapper is Satan says, will North Korea try to EMP us with its new massive H-bomb? And if so, how do we stop the madness? Deplorable Bigley says sanctions don't work. Military operations is only option. And so does all the chat. How long until World War III? Fayez says, I don't think there's an H-bomb strike. I don't think so. Brian Link says, Trump won't do anything, just as all the past administrations did not do anything. Chris Wasson says, Steve, just turned you on. Can you give a quick recap of what is happening, please? Sure. So earlier today, about 5 hours ago, North Korea put out some pictures and said, look, in these pictures, Kim Jong-un is looking at an H-bomb being loaded onto an ICBM. And that was significant because people thought that North Korea did not have an H-bomb yet. An H-bomb is a much more powerful nuclear weapon than a fission bomb, which are the kind of bombs used at Nagasaki and Hiroshima. And it was thought that they did not have the technology to make an H-bomb yet. So there was some debate about that. And then around about midnight tonight, our time, Eastern time, there were reports of an earthquake from North Korea, a 6.3 earthquake. And when North Korea does nuclear tests, there's an earthquake because it's that powerful. And analysts quickly looked at the earthquake, the strength of it, and where it happened in the depth, there was no surface depth. And analysts quickly concluded this was not a normal earthquake. This was artificial, and it's pretty certain that this was a nuclear test. And they can figure out from the size of the earthquake how powerful the bomb is. And the bomb yields that I've seen mentioned are 100 kilotons, several hundred kilotons, maybe up to a megaton. So depending on how big the earthquake was, those are all yields would suggest H bombs. Maybe I wonder if even fission bombs can even get up to there. But experts think that North Korea has conducted a nuclear test, their 6th one ever, their first since last September, but also that this nuclear test is of an H bomb, an incredibly powerful weapon that is multiple times as strong as the bombs used in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. So that's basically what's happening. And now North Korea is going to make a special announcement in 40 minutes from now. And it's assumed that announcement will just be them saying them officially announcing they've tested an H-bomb. That's what I'm guessing it's going to be. But we'll see what else they say. This is Right Side Broadcasting. We're on live. We're covering this news. If you like our coverage, subscribe to us on YouTube and click the notifications bell. That way you'll get updates, notifications whenever we go live with a video, if the notification system is working, which today it wasn't really working. Also, you can subscribe, follow us on Twitter at RSB Network, and follow me on Twitter at Lookner. And you can get updates about our videos that way. And I also post a lot of breaking news stuff. What else did I want to mention? If we're just letting people know, because YouTube is having some issues, if during the broadcast you see the black YouTube logo come up over my face and you see here silence, stay with us. It's not us. We're not off the air. This has been happening every few minutes or so for about 30 seconds. We're coming back. So if you see the black YouTube logo, don't worry, we're still on the air. Just give it about 30 seconds. Also, what was I going to say? If you want, we're reading your comments here and taking your questions and trying to answer them. Write to me at @Lookner on Twitter if you have any comments you want read on the air. And what else was I going to say? Thank you so much to the moderators in the chat. Have been working so hard. We've been on the air about 4 hours now because we were on for a couple hours right before this event happened, talking about North Korea. So moderators working very hard in the chat. And also thanks to those of you who donated. We are viewer supported. Your support lets us be on the air and be a news coverage as an alternative to the mainstream media. So if you like our coverage, please consider making a donation because that's how we can stay on the air and do news coverage. If you want to donate, you can go to rsbn.tv/donate, rsbn.tv/donate, or click on the $ at the bottom of the YouTube chat. We've been on so long, we're going to have to get some more water soon. We're just waiting for this announcement to happen from North Korea. Let me see if there are any more news updates. It's just a lot of news that they're going to make this special announcement. Let me check some more of your messages. Reagan Better says, will North Korea do something on 9/11? Another viewer asked that too. No idea. Zippy writes, Hillary is sleeping. Aaron Elijah Collier writes, thanks, Bill Clinton. Ryan says, multiple news outlets still reporting an earthquake recorded at surface level. Might be an aftershock if it was thermonuclear. So whenever they do tests, nuclear tests in North Korea, there is an earthquake that it registers an earthquake because of the test. So I don't think there's any inconsistency in reporting an earthquake at surface level. And at surface level supposedly suggests a test too. I think the surface level earthquake, it did happen, but it's an artificial earthquake because it was caused by a test. That's the idea. Bloody David says, I guess going from 10 kilotons to 1 megaton plus calls for a special announcement. Now, I have heard estimates that it could be a lower yield, this test, maybe 100 kilotons, but that would still be an enormous increase. And as I said before, once they have H-bomb technology, you'd have to assume they'll just eventually soon be able to increase the yield of their weapons. Ryan says, US, China, South Korea, Europe will have to invade North Korea with Russia consent. We cannot tolerate a thermonuclear threat. No one can. Tom Barnes says, as impulsive and unstable as Kim is, I honestly have no idea how he's ran his little regimes this long. "8 years of MAGA says, 3 days, 72 hours. If the U.S. has not taken definitive action to end the North Korea cult, Trump and Mattis are not in control." Okay, let me try to find some more news here. Officials in both Tokyo and Seoul say the latest North Korean nuclear test was 10 times approximately more powerful than the previous one on September 9th, 2016. Now, I believe the estimated strength of the last one was around 15 kilotons. Let me see. The estimated strength of the last test was 15 to 25 kilotons. So if we're looking at 10 times that, we'd be looking at something like 150 to 250 kilotons. Again, 15 is around how strong the Nagasaki and Hiroshima bombs were. What is she tweeting about? Here's another tweet about that. Japan Meteorological Society says tremors in North Korea were at least 10 times as powerful as previous nuclear tests. And then this report says North Korean artificial quake 9.8 times more powerful than fifth nuclear test. I'm going to tweet this out, by the way. I'm going to say previous test was estimated at yield, estimated at 15 to 25 KT. That would put this test at 150 to 250 KT, which is a very, very powerful weapon. Oh, here we go. Recent nuclear test estimated to be at 100 kilotons, they're saying. DEFCON warning system. An enormous weapon. Now, this came out. Japan Chief Cabinet Secretary Suga sanctions options against North Korea include restrictions on oil products trade. I mean, at this point, I have to imagine like the sanctions like that are not going to really do anything. But that's just me. Maybe I'm wrong. And Ankit Panda also says, early South Korean yield estimate would easily put this in the low 100s of kilotons, 100s plural. So you might have 200 kilotons or even 300 kilotons. So if you would like to write in your comments about about this, what do you think about this test? Do you think the U.S. will do anything about it the next few days or weeks? Are we going to hear from President Trump tonight? Does it change the calculus for President Trump? Give me a shout on Twitter, @Lookner. I can read your comment on the air. RRM says, CNN experts were just saying that North Korea should be allowed to be considered and accepted as a nuclear power now. I guess is the idea that we would recognize them as such to try to like slow them down or something? I don't know. Annabelle Onion says, thanks for covering this. My guess is that Kim will nuke someone eventually, but not tonight. Then the U.S. and its allies will retaliate. You never know. I hope that doesn't happen. I hope it doesn't happen. I mean, it would be suicidal for him, but it's worrying. Lee Johnson reports, as some of our other viewers did, that there are reports that this earthquake was felt in Russia. L.K. Berserk says, with the strong dialogues from Nikki Haley and the UN Security Council earlier this week, this does not look good. Polly Shop says, earthquakes in USA and New Zealand at the same time as North Korea. Someone once said a bomb on a fault line could cause a few problems. I'm not sure if... I saw there were some little earthquakes before. I'm not sure if those were related or not. I don't know enough about it. Tony Fantini says, reason USA is sitting back doing nothing is because USA is not to engage without South Korea's authorization first. Henry Hart says, hey man, is it time for me to leave LA yet? Hey, I'm not telling anyone what to do about anything when it comes to moving for safety reasons. Clyde, I saw your message about the nuke map. Could you maybe send me a link because then it'll avoid me having to search through while people are watching, and search for it on Google and everything. Annabelle Onion says, instead of sanctions, could try a $1 million bounty on Kim's head, but might not be legal. Are you saying to pay people in North Korea? I mean, I'm guessing, I'd be surprised if secretly things like that haven't already been tried, by South Korea or America, offering to pay people to kill him or whatever. But he survived so far, so he must have a pretty good security apparatus there. Ryan says, U.S. has 3 destroyers, all from 7th Fleet, out of action for the year. Maybe North Korea sees us as an opening, plus U.S. reacting to embracing storms. Let's check the news again. We're waiting for this announcement from South Korea in 27 minutes. If you find a link to it, let me know. I might be able to show it. Although, if it's like last time, it's just all going to be in Korean. So, what I'll probably do that's more helpful is look for somebody who's translating it in real time, which there usually is. You're watching Right Side is Broadcasting's live coverage of North Korea conducting their 6th nuclear test, their first one in the Trump administration. It looks like it's a way bigger test than they've ever conducted before. Analysts are saying they might have tested a hydrogen bomb with a yield of 100 kilotons or more, maybe several hundred kilotons. That would be multiple times as big as the bombs that went off in Nagasaki and Hiroshima. So we're taking your questions and your comments on the air. I'm at @Lookner, at Lookner on Twitter. Feel free to message me there. Also, you can follow me there if you like breaking news coverage. Also, follow Right Side Broadcasting at RSB Network, and be sure to subscribe to us on YouTube and click the notifications bell so you find out about our future breaking news videos. And we just got a donation, so nice. Arnold Matrix gave a donation for $14. Said, "We love you, Steve." Thank you, Arnold. Those donations are what keeps us on the air. So if you like our coverage and you like that you have an alternative to the mainstream media, please consider making a donation. If you want to donate, you can go to rsbn.tv/donate, rsbn.tv/donate, or click on the $ at the bottom of the YouTube chat next to the broadcast. 9 Fathoms gave $2 and said, "Thanks for all the hard work, Steve. Donate, folks." Thank you, 9 Fathoms. You made some donations earlier today, too. We really appreciate it. I'm so going to need more water soon. Okay, let's look and see if there are more news updates here. Again, we're seeing reports like this. North Korean nuke test estimated to have yield of 100 kilotons, up to 5 times stronger. The bomb dropped on Nagasaki. That's from BNO News. I've heard estimates of even higher than that. We're seeing talk. So China had said they had detected some seismic event earlier. There's some speculation on whether there might have been some collapse of land from the nuclear test, whether some radiation might have gotten out or something. So Ankit Panda says this may be a normal and expected side effect of a test this magnitude, or it could be unforeseen and affect venting. So people don't really know if there's been some kind of collapse in North Korea, if some radiation got out. Reportedly, there are planes flying around from places like Japan and the U.S. measuring the radiation. Japan said earlier they hadn't detected any increased radiation in Japan. Here's a theory. Oh, USGS now confirms secondary 4.1 event at North Korea test site and says it's a collapse? Really? Wow, I didn't know that. They have 2 up. They call it a collapse. That's incredible. Why won't it open? Is it just up there? It literally, I can't open this right now. I'm trying to get more information about this. This one opens. Oh, here it is. Look at this collapse. This is from the USGS. So what they have said, China had reported an earthquake before that they had heard, that they had detected the same site as the nuclear test. USGS is confirming there was a 4.1 earthquake there, but they are calling it a collapse, and they're saying seismic event co-located with the larger possible explosion. This significantly smaller event is likely a secondary feature, possibly a structural collapse associated with the larger event. I'm going to tweet this out. USGS confirms 4.1 earthquake shortly after nuke test, is calling it a collapse. That's kind of big news. Now let's go back to that. I want to go back to that tweet I saw before. Shay Cotton, who's a weapons expert, he says they may have intended a collapse, specifically so radiation would get out and our sniffer planes could pick up gases and confirm it was a thermonuclear test. I have no idea if this is the case, but he's saying maybe they wanted something to collapse so that our planes could pick up the radiation. Who knows? I have no idea. Interesting theory. Let's see if there's more news here. That's really big, though. So there definitely was. This is confirmed. Because people were saying, well, maybe China messed up. There was a 4.1 earthquake 8 minutes after the nuclear explosion, and they're calling it a collapse. Crazy, just crazy. Suggest tunnel collapse after nuclear test. I'll retweet this. So if you have thoughts on this, if you have thoughts on this event, on all the stuff we're hearing, and by the way, in 20 minutes there's supposed to be a statement from North Korea, so we're going to cover that and let you know what they're saying, a special statement. But if you have thoughts on what this news, all the news we're talking about, and what might happen in the future with North Korea, give me a shout on Twitter, @Lookner, @LOOKNER. Let me know, and I will try to read your comment on the air. By the way, let me just grab a little more water. I'm going to disappear just for a second, but I'll be right back, like in 30 seconds. I just have to literally grab some more water. Thank you for your patience. I just want to say again, I don't know if it's been happening the last few minutes, but as I pour my water, if a black screen comes on the air and it just says it's a black YouTube logo, it's a problem that's been happening today with YouTube. Stick with us. It'll be like 30 seconds and we'll be back. So we're not going anywhere. It's not on our end. So if you do see a black YouTube logo come on the screen and cover everything, don't worry about it. We'll be back in like 30 seconds because that's what's been happening today at YouTube. All right. So we're continuing to cover this story, get you the latest information about it. This is Right Side Broadcasting. Be sure to subscribe to us on YouTube and click the notifications bell. Steve Ackerman writes in and says, do you think this will be the act that crosses the line based on President Trump's fire and fury statement? I don't know. I mean, I've thought that if they were ever to do a nuclear test, if they were ever to do a missile test and the missiles landed close to Guam, that could be something that makes President Trump really step up and do something a lot different. Will this? I don't know. It's a great question. I don't know. Dylan says, will you be broadcasting the special announcement? Well, it's not in English. So we will definitely be covering it and let you know as it happens what is being said. We'll definitely do that. I'm sort of unsure on whether I can get something, a feed I can actually show you. I'm messaging Joe right now to see if have him let me know if he finds a feed of it. We can show even. Okay, let's get to some more of your messages here. Greg says some of the other networks are sure attacking Trump tonight in their coverage in all kinds of ways. We're not really attacking or supporting anyone here. We're just trying to bring you the latest news about what's going on with this North Korea situation. To repeat, as we said before, North Korea will be making a special announcement in 16 minutes. I assume they're going to announce that they've tested an H-bomb. Oh, it says... Well, so Ryan sent me an account that translates the official North Korea Twitter, but I don't think that'll necessarily translate the speech in real time. That's what we need. But last time, on July 4th, when they did the ICBM test, and they made the speech, there were plenty of people real-time translating it on Twitter. Armando says, mind giving a recap for the last 10 minutes for the people that just joined? I just gave a recap about 10 minutes ago or so I'm not going to give one right now. I'll give one soon. Basically, North Korea conducted a nuclear test. It's their 6th one ever. It's way bigger than any of they've done before, and it looks like they've developed a hydrogen bomb, which is a much, much more powerful bomb than the bombs that they used at Hiroshima and Nagasaki. That's my very quick summary. And I think it's a great question too. But unfortunately, if I keep summarizing longer than that, then I'll just constantly be summarizing. But you can always, I believe you can rewind the stream and go back if you want to catch up on what we were talking about before. Speezy Moto says, White House is on lockdown. I haven't heard that yet. Even if it is, I'm guessing it's unrelated. White House can go on lockdown when somebody approaches the fence or something. I'll look it up. Yeah, I'm not seeing any kind of major news organizations report about the White House being on lockdown, so for now I'll assume it isn't. But if I hear anything more about that, I'll let you know. Looking over some of your comments here. Amanda Curran writes, do you think the leader will say he is now fully ready to declare war? I don't think so. That would be kind of a big policy change for them. If past announcents are precedent, I would say we'll hear, we've developed a hydrogen bomb. We now have as powerful bombs as anyone. With our missiles, these can reach anywhere in the world. And what else might he say? You should recognize us as a nuclear power. Maybe he'll say that. Maybe he'll say you should recognize us right now and stop fighting it or something. I don't know. I can't imagine. I'd be surprised if there was some overt threat, like we're going to attack you or something like that. By the way, and that's my thoughts. David writes, when did the USGS confirm any nuke tests at all? Well, the USGS actually did something kind of out of the ordinary. They claimed there was an explosion and not just an earthquake. But the USGS doesn't confirm the nuclear test. I'm going off of experts saying it was a nuclear test. Many, many experts and the Japanese and South Korean government have said they believe it was a nuclear test. So that's what I'm going off of. Let's see if there's any more news here. Real quick, I'm just responding to my boss. Give me 1 sec, guys, to pull something up here. I think I have a feed. Let's see here. Let's see if this works. Let's see if this works. Give me 1 sec, guys. Ooh, I think this is going to work. So what I have on the air right now, I'll show you, is this is, oops, let me get it better. That's North Korean state TV right now. So I think we're going to be able to watch it. I just want to, we'll be able to, I believe we'll be able to watch it. Let me just do one quick thing to make this a little easier here. Just give me 1 sec, guys. Hold on. Okay. All right, about 30 seconds. That's what I need. Good. I think I've done this a little better so that you can see. Let's see what this looks like now. Yeah, so that is North Korean state TV right now. We're going to be keeping an eye on that. And when the announcement starts, I will go to that, although it's not going to be in English probably. But I'll try to get you a translation as it happens. So that's North Korean state TV right now. We'll go back there for the announcement. Thank you, Joe, for sending me that. Just checking to see if we have some more news here, guys. I'm just seeing people saying special announcement. Let's go back to that footage again of the action of North Korean state TV and see what they're showing. That's what they're showing right now. I wonder if he's making the announcement already. Let's see. Let's see what the sound is on this. Let's hear the sound. Oops. I can't play that music, so I'm not allowed to play that music because YouTube gets very mad when you play music that's copyrighted. So I'm going to hold off for a second. I don't think they'll be playing music during the actual announcement. If it's like the announcement before, it'll be this woman sitting there who did the last announcement. And she'll be talking really loudly. So, but this is North Korean state TV right here. We'll keep an eye on that. So we're waiting for 9 minutes from now. That's when the announcement's going to be, supposedly. And a bunch of you keep messaging me about something going on at the White House with like ambulances or something or a lockdown. Please send me. I'm not going to report it until I see like some sort of major news organization, someone who works at one of these organizations reporting it, and then I will report it. Because, we get reports of things a lot, and sometimes they turn out to be not true. I'm not saying it's not true. I'm just saying I'm waiting to hear. So I would like to hear some more confirmation from some sort of journalistic source. So if you have that, please, by all means, send it to me. ATB says, does a collapse mean potential leaking of radiation? Some people are worried that if there was a collapse of the tunnel, there could be leaking of radiation. Maybe. All right, let's go back. I'll keep an eye on that. So that's what's, this is again North Korean state TV. We're going to have the announcement very shortly. Probably in 7 minutes, we're going to have that announcement. Here's a post from Vipin Narang, and he says, for deterrence purposes, North Korea. Oh, sorry, let me show it this way. For deterrence purposes, North Korea just crossed a huge milestone. Staged or not, true thermonuclear or boosted, these are city buster yields for an ICBM. So what he's saying is that with this kind of powerful weapon, it is a huge deterrent, because if they really have this kind of weapon, countries are not going to want to attack them, because this could do a weapon like this. He says it's a city buster, could destroy an entire metropolitan area, a weapon like this that they've tested tonight. Okay, let's go back and see what the state TV is showing. Only about 5 minutes left until this special announcement from North Korea. We will have it live here, although we'll probably need a translator. That's what state TV is showing right now. This is Right Side Broadcasting's coverage of North Korea's conducting a nuclear test. Much greater than they've ever conducted before. We're hearing like estimates of maybe like 100 kilotons, or if not more, of power, which would be multiple times more than the Hiroshima and Nagasaki bombs. We're hearing this very well could be a hydrogen bomb. A lot of experts say it is, which are much more powerful bombs than fission bombs, in which can be ramped up way more than this to enormous amounts of power. By the way, we just got a donation from Elizabeth Luker. She gave $10. She said, much love to you, Steve. Thank you and the crew for keeping us up to date with all current events. Much love, blessings from Alabama. Thank you, Elizabeth, so much. We do rely on you to stay on the air, so if you like our coverage, please consider making a donation at rsbn.tv/donate, rsbn.tv/donate, or you can click the $ at the bottom of the YouTube chat. So we're just waiting for this announcement here, just in a few minutes, 4 minutes from North Korea, special announcement. And I'm looking over just news to see if anything came out the last couple of minutes. And we're hearing this report. There was a second earthquake. There was a first earthquake in North Korea when they did the nuclear test, which is expected. There was a second earthquake, a little less strong, about 8 minutes later. Some people are speculating that was a tunnel collapse. So I'll show you just real quick, while I have the chance. Here's somebody who says, well, here's a tweet about it. If I can find it. It is here. Second quake near North Korean test site could be a tunnel collapse. There are worries of perhaps radiation coming out from the test if there was a tunnel collapse. Okay, let us go back to the North Korean state TV. That's what they're showing right now. The announcement should be in about 3 minutes. 3 minutes from now, we'll have their special announcement. Let's hear, are they still playing music? I bet they are. I'm trying to avoid hearing their music, so I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait till the actual announcement to get the sound. Ooh, let's see. Oops, I think I got a better... Let's see here. Okay, Joe, I got your text. Give me 1 sec, guys. I'm going to get, I think, a little better feed right now. Give me 1 second. We're not going to miss the announcement. I'm just getting a little bit of a better feed up there. Here we go. Here's this. Open this. Okay, I have it, guys. Give me one more second, please. Wonderful. Almost there. Now let's just do this. The announcement isn't on yet. I'm going to show it to you. Here it is. We'll do this. Let's see if this worked. I think it did. I hope. There we go. There is. I'll disappear when they make the announcement, I think. So that right now is State TV. Give me 1 second. Let me just do one quick thing. Let's do this. This will be better. There we go. Let's try it again. Ah, that's better. Now I can stay on. So you're watching North Korea's State TV, and they're going to have an announcement in about a minute and a half about this nuclear test I believe they did. What will they say? We will see. We will probably see what they say by listening to the announcement. It's all going to be in Korean, and we're not going to understand it. And then I will run to Twitter during the announcement and see what translators are saying about the announcement. That's my plan. Let's see. Are they still playing music? Let's see. Nope, can't play the music. Gotta wait. We'll have the sound during the announcement because I don't think we'll be playing music during the announcement. So we're just waiting for this. Again, you are watching Right Side Broadcasting's coverage of the Korean nuclear test, possibly an H-bomb test. If you like our coverage, don't forget, subscribe to us on YouTube and click the notifications bell so you get notified whenever we go on the air with live breaking news. Also, follow us on Twitter at RSB Network, and you can follow me on Twitter at Lookner, and I post a lot about breaking news stuff if you like breaking news stuff. I'm just waiting. I almost don't even want to talk right now. I want to wait and see. I think it's going to be the same woman as last time with her big booming voice. But we'll see. We'll see. And then afterwards, we'll talk about the announcement, and you guys can write in and share your comments and your feedback on it. Write to me at Lookner on Twitter, and I'd say I will read your comment on the air, but there's probably going to be a lot of comments, so I'll try to read your comment on the air. Thank you again to the moderators in the chat room for staying up so late with us tonight. We are awaiting this special announcement by North Korea right now. And if I remember the ICBM announcement they made on July 4th, that kind of was, I remember that being kind of right on time. Like, I'm even surprised this hasn't started yet, because the last one started like right on the dot when they said it was going to start. Oh, here we go, I think. Let's see.
노동당 중앙위원회 정치국 상무위원회가 진행됐습니다. 조선노동당 중앙위원회 정치국 상무위원회가 주최 106 2017년 9월 3일 오전에 진행됐습니다. 정치국 상무위원회는 조선노동당 중앙위원회 정치국 상무위원들인 김정은 동지, 김용남 동지, 황병서 동지, 박봉주 동지, 최정혜 동지가 참가했습니다. 조선노동당 중앙위원회 정치국 상무위원회에서는 먼저 현 국제정치 정세와 조선반도에 조성된 군사적 긴장 상태를 분석평가했습니다. 이어 조선민주주의인민공화국 핵무기연구소가 진행한 핵무기 병기화 연구 사업 실태에 대한 보고를 청취하고 조선노동당 제7차 대회가 제시한 국가 핵무력 완성의 완결 단계 목표를 달성하기 위한 일환으로 대륙간 탄도로켓 장착용 수소탄 시험을 진행하는 문제를 토의했습니다. 정치국 상무위원회에서는 조선노동당 중앙위원회 정치국 상무위원회 결정서 국가 핵무력 완성의 완결 단계 목표를 달성하기 위한 일환으로 대륙간 탄도로켓 장착용 수소탄 시험을 진행할 때 대하여가 채택됐으며 김정은 동지께서 시험을 단행할 때 대한 명령서에 친필 서명하셨습니다. 조선노동당 중앙위원회 정치국 상무위원회에서는 또한 미국과 적대 세력들의 악랄한 반공화국 제재 책동을 견제하고 당최 7차 대회가 제시한 부문별 투쟁 과업들을 성과적으로 집행시키기 위한 구체적인 방도와 대책들을 도입했습니다. 조선민주주의인민공화국 핵무기연구소 상명, 대륙간 탄도로켓 장착용 수소탄 시험에서 완전 성공. 조선노동당의 전략적 핵무력 건설 구상에 따라 우리의 핵과학자들은 9월 3일 12시 우리나라 북부 핵시험장에서 대륙간 탄도로켓 장착용 수소탄 시험을 성공적으로 단행하였다. 이번 수소탄 시험은 대륙간 탄도로켓 전투부에 장착할 수소탄 제작에 새로 연구 도입한 위력 조정 기술과 내부 구조 설계 방안의 정확성과 믿음성을 검토 확증하기 위하여 진행되었다. 시험 측정 결과 총 폭발 위력과 분열대 융합 위력비를 비롯한 핵 전투부의 위력 지표들과 2단 열행 무기로서의 질적 수준을 반영하는 모든 물리적 지표들이 설계값에 충분히 도달하였으며 이번 시험이 이전에 비해 전례 없이 큰 위력으로 진행되었지만 지표면 분출이나 방사성 물질 누출 현상이 전혀 없었고 주위 생태 환경에 그 어떤 부정적 영향도 주지 않았다는 것이 확정되었다. 시험을 통하여 수소탄 1차계 압축 기술과 분열 연쇄 반응 시발 조정 기술의 정밀성을 재확인하였으며 1차계와 2차계의 핵물질 이용률이 설계에 반영한 수준에 도달하였다는 것이 다시금 실증되었다. 수소탄 2차계의 핵 융합 위력을 높이는
Sorry to interrupt everyone, but I just saw some translations going on the internet, and apparently North Korea has not only confirmed that it carried out a 6th nuclear test, they have said they have carried out a successful H-bomb test. North Korea has announced in this announcement that they have carried out a successful test of a hydrogen bomb, a very powerful weapon, and they're saying it was successful, and that's some of what they've been saying. Let's go back to the announcement. We'll talk a little more after.
차폐 재료와 중성자 차폐 재료가 합리적으로 선정되었다는 것을 확인하였다. 이번 시험을 통하여 우리는 1차계와 2차계에서 일어나는 복잡한 물리적 과정들에 대한 우리식의 해석 방법과 계산 프로그램들이 높은 수준에 있음.
Another part of the translation I'm seeing is that they say the hydrogen bomb test was a complete success and it's intended for an ICBM. Supposedly they said it was intended for an ICBM. They want to put this on a missile that can reach other continents, for example, the United States, which isn't a continent, but you know what I mean.
폭발 조종 체계의 믿음성을 다시 한번 확인하였다. 대륙간 탄도로켓 장착용 수소탄 시험에서의 완전 성공은 우리의 주체적인 핵탄들이 고도로 정밀화되었을 뿐 아니라 핵 전투부의 동작 믿음성이 확고히 보장되며 우리의 핵무기 설계 및 제작.
Another update about what she's saying, she has supposedly said that the device tested tonight was the same hydrogen bomb device that was visible in the pictures released today of Kim Jong-un examining and inspecting a weapon.
장착용 수소탄 시험이 성과적으로 진행된 것과 관련하여 조선노동당 중앙위원회는 북부 핵시험장에 우리 핵과학자 기술자들에게 뜨거운 축하를 보내어 왔다.
Well, it looks like that was the announcement. It looks like we got the announcement. Are we over there? I think we're all done with the announcement. So that was it. North Korea reports are saying in that announcement confirmed they conducted a nuclear test today. They tested a hydrogen bomb. They have successfully tested a hydrogen bomb, and it's meant for an ICBM, intercontinental ballistic missile. Also, they talked about the bomb being two-staged. She talked about the bomb being two-staged. A staged weapon, I believe, is a more advanced design, and I think by two-staged it means having it has a fission nuclear bomb inside it, and that goes off, and that causes other material to compress, and that leads to the fusion, which is why it's a fusion bomb. I think that's the idea of it. I might not be sure, but I'm not totally sure, but I think that's the idea. Anyways, but huge news: North Korea announces it has conducted not only nuclear test, but they've conducted a test of a hydrogen bomb. That's a much more powerful type of weapon than the Hiroshima and Nagasaki bombs, which are fission bombs, not fusion bombs, which is a hydrogen bomb is a fusion bomb, and hugely more powerful than those weapons. So this is a really big deal. And I'm going to even check, before I get to your comments, I'm going to change what the lower third says to reflect that they've announced this. North Korea tests hydrogen bomb. That's big news. I think I spelled everything right. Let me change that and we will move on. There we go. All done. I'm feeling better now. Okay, so I'm Steve Lookner. This is Right Side Broadcasting. We've been covering this, last several hours, and I'm gonna go to see the latest updates right now, news-wise. And then if you have comments on this, write to me on Twitter at Lookner at Lookner. Let me know what you think about this announcement, this huge announcement. North Korea says they've tested a hydrogen bomb, and also experts seem to agree that this was a hydrogen bomb test. So let me go and see what people are saying right now. What is happening here? Hold on, guys. Sorry. Oh, I guess part of the claim, I believe, in the speech was this. Oops, let me fix this. Sorry, guys. So Ankit Panda says that part of what was said in the speech was that no radiation was released and there was no environmental ill effect from this test. And Ankit Panda says, we shall see. But it's interesting that supposedly in the speech, it said no radiation. She said no radiation was released and there was no environmental ill effect from this test. We shall see. So it's interesting they said that. North Korea claims its test of a thermonuclear device was completely successful. You just saw it. Fox News saying North Korea says it successfully conducted a hydrogen bomb test. What will the president do? Will this change the president's thinking on this? Will this change the strategy? Will this change the planning? I don't know. Let me know what you think. Write to me at Lookner on Twitter. I want to do real quick here. Check something out. Yeah, so I think I was right about the two-stage thing. I just looked it up. A fusion bomb has a two-stage design, a primary fission or boosted fission component and a secondary fusion component. So basically, it's a two-stage bomb, meaning they claim it's a two-stage bomb, which means it has a nuclear bomb in it, a fission bomb, and that goes off and it compresses other material and causes that material to fuse, which is why it's called a fusion bomb, and that releases lots of energy. A couple donations here. Elizabeth Luker made a donation of $20. She says, well, it was nice knowing all of you. Seriously, everyone stay vigilant and safe and make right with God. God bless you all. Only God knows the time, but we as Christians need to always be ready. Love to all. So thank you, Elizabeth Luker, for writing in. Now, just to clarify, for those of you who are new to the network, this is not a Christian network. Elizabeth Luker is saying her and her fellow Christians, but she's not trying to say that everybody who watches this is Christian, just to make sure people know that. We are equal opportunity. If you send us a comment, and as long as it's not like, very offensive or filthy or that kind of thing, we're open to all viewpoints there, and we're happy to have people write in and give their viewpoint on the air. So just letting people know. But thank you so much, Elizabeth, for the donation. We really appreciate it. And I think I missed the donation before, unfortunately, so I'll try to get that information on the air. We are viewer supported. If you want to donate, rsbn.tv/donate, rsbn.tv/donate, or you can click on the $sign in the YouTube chat room. That's how we stay on the air, is your donations. Okay, I know a bunch of people sent me messages. I'd love to read some of them. Let me just get something on the screen besides me. Here, I'll put this on the screen for now. Okay. Stephen Tennell says, has anything been said from the White House? No, not that I have heard. I've heard nothing from the White House, from the State Department, or the Secretary of Defense, or any of these Department of Defense. I would think maybe there's going to be something said tonight, but I don't know. Nothing yet. Mickey D says, this means a whole different ball game. Ryan says, they have to know that if we suspect them, that if we suspect them attempting a launch, that will strike. Andy Carlson says, Fox News reported this bomb must have come from China. Fox, according to Andy Carlson, that's what he said he saw on Fox News. Ronnie Mercer says, so surreal. It's like Dr. Strangelove, only this time it's real life. I hope President Trump and his team know what to do. By the way, I'm periodically saying tonight, YouTube is having a bit of issues today where sometimes in the stream, a stream becomes a black YouTube logo. If that happens on this stream, we're not off the air. It's going to be on for like 30 seconds and then it'll go away and we'll be back on. It's not our fault. So if you see a black YouTube logo taking up the whole screen, don't worry. We're not off the air. Give it about 30 seconds and we'll come back. Savage Bourgeois says, thanks North Korea for releasing all that poison into the air. Polly Shop said she had heard that there was a translation that North Korea said the H-bomb can be detonated even at high altitudes, which might be sort of seen as some vague EMP attack threat. David Henry Posadas gave a $2 donation. Thank you, David Henry Posadas. Very kind of you. It'll help us stay on the air and cover more news. Annabelle Onion says, holy smokes, they are bragging about testing an H-bomb. Gary Vance says China. I think you think China gave them the technology. Jeffrey Moore says, is the woman who made the announcement Kim Jong-un's mother? I do not believe so. Let's see. Sequoia Quinton says, the sum of all fears. I never read that Tom Clancy book, so I don't know the reference. The submarine one was very good. Hunt for Red October. Jeff says, Hillary probably sold them uranium too. Brianna Weber says, it's nothing new how North Korea is conducting these missile tests. However, the USA should take all of these matters seriously. Naka 2414 says, time to make the North Korea fat man disappear. Killy Garrett says, hey, Steve, do you think this is retaliation for the conversation with Nikki Haley and the 15-15 vote for heavier sanctions? I think this is just part of their wanting to develop their weapons as they've been doing for the last several years. Well, a lot longer than that, but really been intensely the last year or so, been pushing this nuclear program. And different people have different theories about why they want to do it, maybe just because they see it as assuring their survival. But I think this is just part of that race for them to get as many and as powerful nuclear weapons as possible and have the technology to have them be able to hit around the world, including the US, to deter countries from coming after them. Okay, catching up with some more of your messages. Brian Link says on CNN, someone said So Brian, you're pointing out that earlier today, North Korea said they build all the components domestically. They built all the components domestically of that hydrogen bomb. But experts I've seen have doubted that claim. Joe gave $20 Canadian. Thank you so much, Joe. Very kind of you. Again, donations will just help us keep us on the air so we can cover more news like this. Tom Barnes says, what do you think this means for the stability of world peace? Great question, Tom. No, I honestly have no idea. It's so hard to say what's going to happen now. I really genuinely don't know. Will we take action against them? I don't know. Even if we don't take action against them, could there be nuclear proliferation where they sell some of their weapons or their technology? I don't know. Will they just sit there and not use their weapons? Maybe. So it's so hard to say with them what's going on. Let me do a quick check and see if there's more news. If you have more thoughts on this and you want me to read your comment, @Lookner on Twitter. Message me at @Lookner on Twitter. Feel free to follow me there as well. I cover a lot of breaking news stuff on my Twitter. And follow Right Side Broadcasting at @RSB Network, @RSB Network. And don't forget, we do these breaking news videos all the time, any hour. You can see it now. It's 2:48 Eastern, but we're up and we're covering this. If you want to see our live news videos, I would suggest subscribe to us on YouTube and click the notifications bell so you get notifications when we come on the air. But once in a while, those notifications don't work. So as a backup, you might want to follow either Right Side Broadcasting on Twitter @RSB Network or follow me on Twitter @Lookner. We just got a donation for $20 from Woami I Am Who. Who am I, Woami? I said Woami, but it was Who Am I? Who am I am who? I like Woami better. Who am I am who? And Who Am I says, just remember, John Podesta is a pedophile and the DNC murdered Seth Rich. I am not aware of evidence pointing to either of those things. We'll report that if we see compelling evidence, but some people do believe that, I know, but just clarifying, I personally am not aware of compelling evidence that those things are true. So I just want to say that. Well, as I said before, we try to do as little censorship as possible here. We try to cover news agenda free. That's what we want to do. Agenda free news coverage. You wouldn't think it'd be that hard to find. I personally think it's very hard to find, and so we try to do that here. Breaker Jump just gave me a donation of $5 and says, Kim needs food aid because his people are starving. We've been doing this for 25 years. North Korea has not miniaturized nukes or solved reentry yet. Well, supposedly, U.S. intelligence now thinks he has miniaturized nukes. They don't think he solved reentry yet, but that could be very close. And also, I saw a report that said their last missile test, the missile survived reentry until 1 kilometer above the Earth, and that's the height at which you'd detonate a thermonuclear weapon, a hydrogen bomb. So that's worrying. Let me see if there's more news. Hang on one sec here. And again, this test was about the earthquake from this was a 6.3, and estimates are that this was about 10 times stronger than the previous test. And the previous test last September had a yield I saw between 15 and 25 kilotons. That would put the yield of this test at between 100 and 250 kilotons, which is a huge amount. I mean, because 15 to 20 was basically what the Nagasaki and Hiroshima bombs were. No word from the White House yet. No word from the American government yet, as far as I can tell. And in this sorry, let me get this up here. In this speech, they did say, Lucas Tomlinson of Fox says that This can be mounted to a long-range missile. They're saying this can be mounted to a long-range missile. Now, this is very scary if it's true, because if you think Kim Jong-un is sort of unstable, what's to stop him just kind of going really nuts and just deciding one day to launch one of these things? Assuming they eventually get the re-entry thing handled and the accuracy of the missiles handled. Just somebody like this having these weapons is frightening, I think. Maybe you disagree. Will we hear anything from the U.S. government in the coming moments? So, Ankit Panda says, for their deterrent, there may be reason to see this test as their likely last nuclear test. Maybe he thinks they've shown what they've shown now. They don't have to show anymore. And also, Ankit Panda is saying, this could be a kind of weapon that they can. It's very easy for them to ramp up the strength of. So Ankit Panda says, if their dial a yield claim from earlier is true, might not be, they'd have a one-size-fits-all design. So it's possible they tested a weapon where it's very easy for them to just ramp up how strong it is. I guess by including more material of a certain sort in there or something like that. Guys, I'm going to take a 1-minute break real quick. 1 minute. I'm going to put up on the screen. Steve will be right back. I just need a minute here. So give me 1 minute and I will come right back. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to say this. See, now it says Steve will be right back, which I will. And I'm going to disappear for a second. So give me 1 minute. I will be, hold on, right back. Thank you for your patience. Let me just replace what's up there right now. There we go. Okay, so we're covering this breaking news. North Korea has announced they've tested a hydrogen bomb. The experts seem to agree. The big piece we really don't have right now is what is going to be the reaction of the world. That to me is the big question right now. How does the U.S. react? How does China react? What does South Korea and Japan do? Does this change anything or does it not change anything? I honestly don't know what'll happen. We're going to be on the air a little while longer covering this tonight. Thank you for staying up late with us and watching this. If you have any opinion on what you will think will happen next, how these other countries will react, write to me on Twitter at Lookner, at Lookner, and let me know what you think. And thank you. So many people have made donations tonight. We really appreciate that because it's only because you've made donations that we can even be on the air. Your donations were viewer supported, keep us on the air. So if you like our news coverage and want to see more of it, please consider making a donation because that's what allows us to do this, to bring you an agenda-free coverage of news coverage that's different from the mainstream media. That's what we try to do here. So if you want to donate, you can go to rsbn.tv/donate, rsbn.tv/donate, or just click on the $ at the bottom of the YouTube chat room. And speaking of the YouTube chat room, thanks moderators for doing such a great job today and staying up late with me tonight to help cover this. And thank you everybody who's been sending in news tips too. I appreciate that as well. Ryan says, Korea and Japan have a bad history. This test comes a day after VJ Day anniversary, September 2. Any significance? You know, they do often like to do tests on significant dates. I don't know if it's related to that, or I don't know like what the holidays are these days in North Korea. So it could be a significant date. I don't know. Ayakon says, hey, welcome back from your break. Thank you. Any idea on our next steps against North Korea? Is fire and fury still on the table? Update on ambulances near White House. I've heard nothing about the ambulances. People keep writing me about it. I've heard no mainstream media, as much as I hate that term, reporting it. I don't even know if it's happening. It could be somewhere near the White House, so I have no update. And but let me know if you find stuff from like people who write at like news organizations. Let me know. As to whether this what the next steps will be, couldn't tell you. I could see a world in which President Trump eventually takes military action against North Korea. I could see a world in which he does nothing new. Can't tell you. It's one of these things. It's one of these rare things. I really have no idea what's going to happen. Let's see. Annabelle says, is delay in U.S. government's response to make Kim sweat a little maybe? No idea. I mean, it's certainly, I could see them waiting, the U.S. government, till after the announcement from North Korea because they didn't know exactly what they were going to say. Darth Kofefe says, curious to hear and see the response of President Trump on North Korea test. Thanks for keeping us informed, Lookner. You're welcome. Thanks for watching, Darth Kofefe. George says, Steve, other than cocaine, what do you do to stay up all night? What keeps me up is this news. I find this news is so fascinating and so interesting when it happens, and so this news is concerning. But as soon as the broadcast ends, I'll just be exhausted and collapse. So if this news wasn't happening right now, I don't think I'd be up right now. But that's what makes me, the fascinating world keeps me up at night. Stephen Tennell says, do you think the next step is another missile test? I have seen some experts speculate. I think Ankit Panda said he thought that Japan had tested a missile, North Korea tested a missile last week that flew over North Korea, and it was more of a horizontal test than the vertical test they've been doing. So the missile flew longer. The missile flew over Japan, but he was saying maybe they'll do a missile test like that, but with an ICBM, because the last one wasn't with an ICBM. So there definitely could be a test where they let an ICBM fly longer distance-wise horizontally than they've been doing. That certainly could happen. I don't know, though. I don't know. Mass1 says, North Korea has to definitely do this to not get overthrown. Sofa King Wild, though. I don't know what Sofa King means. Kylie Garrett says, North Korea has to know the president will strike back. Baiting the hook, perhaps? I have wondered, I was thinking today, is there a world in which North Korea is trying to get the U.S. to do some sort of limited military action? I don't know, and it's like you can like your head can explode thinking about these things. I was just wondering, is there some kind of benefit that can come from that? Because maybe if the U.S. does a limited military action, then China gets all mad and they say stop doing that, U.S., and then that protects North Korea even more. I don't know. All these things are probably things that people in various governments think about constantly. Babak says, unified Korea be economic powerhouse. Not good for China, Japan, U.S. Kimmy knows that. He is showing his power to his people. Now, I will say China does not want North Korea to unify with South Korea and be allied with the United States. China definitely doesn't want that. Let me do a quick check of the news and see what's going on here. See if anything new has been announced. Flannel Beard just gave $5. Thank you, Flannel Beard. Says, Iacon here from the Twitter question. Thank you. God bless. You're welcome. Thank you for the donation. That's really nice of you. Okay, I'm looking over for new news updates. In terms of like the no good options thing, there's this guy, Ankit Panda, by the way. I keep quoting Ankit Panda. I like him a lot. He's like a weapons expert, and when North Korea ever does like a nuclear test or has like a military action, he's always tweeting about it. A nuclear related military action. So, and I think he's a smart guy, but he says sanctions won't stop this. War won't stop this with an acceptable level of risk to the U.S., Japan, South Korea. Diplomacy might not either. Will muddle on. So he seems to think there's really no good options here. No way to stop them to keep developing their weapons. And so they tested a hydrogen bomb tonight, according to the experts and according to them. But now, like, what's to stop them from just amassing this gigantic arsenal of these weapons? I mean, at this point, why are they going to stop? They might just develop tons of these things. Lerico Launch gave $5 Canadian. Thank you, Lerico. And said, I recorded 10 minutes of the North Korea announcement from the state channel if you want it by email. Then you can play it here if you like. We're good, right? At this point, because it wasn't in English, I think, it's at this point, people can, if you want to go find that announcement, I would just say go. I'm sure you can find it on YouTube or whatever, on go watch one of the news networks and they'll show it. But for now, I think we're good. But thank you for the offer. You're watching Right Side Broadcasting's ongoing live coverage of this crazy event. North Korea testing a hydrogen bomb a couple hours ago, and 3 hours ago? I can't remember. Anyways, an hour ago? I think they tested it at midnight Eastern. That would have been 3 hours ago. Anyways, though, be sure to subscribe to Right Side Broadcasting on YouTube to get click the notifications bell so you can find out whenever we're going on the air live with a breaking news video like this. Also, you can follow us at RSB Network for updates that way, and you can follow me at Lookner for breaking news updates, which I always post. And I periodically have been mentioning this because we had some trouble earlier. YouTube was doing this thing, not intentionally, I think, where a black YouTube logo would come on our broadcast. If you're watching this and a black YouTube logo starts covering the screen, don't worry. We're still here. It's not our fault. It's a YouTube quirky thing that's going on tonight. Just give it about 30 seconds and we'll come back. JC, one of our fine moderators, made a donation, said $5. Thank you, RSBN Steve and the RSBN Mod Squad. Thank you, JC. Thank you to all our moderators for working hours straight tonight moderating the chat room. I noticed the chat room, the YouTube chat room, it's always very busy, and it's busy tonight, but we're covering breaking news. But as soon as the woman started talking in the announcement, it was like just crazy how many people were making comments. Andrew Sova says, simply North Korea is just attention seekers. Parody Kim Jong-un account says, Lookner, my friend, ask your viewers which city I should nuke first. Hard to decide. Whole country is evil. That's from the parody Kim Jong-un account. Eric Bazell says, my question is, where did they get the deuterium for an H-bomb? Are they processing seawater or acquiring it by other means? No, I personally have no idea whether they're getting this domestically or for somebody else. None at all. Lots of theories out there about that. John Smith says, if not war, the next prudent steps are to put the 100 tactical nukes back in South Korea and give nukes to Japan. China can choke on it. Interesting suggestion. I've heard this brought up, the idea that we could start weaponizing South Korea and Japan more, and maybe even put... Now, I don't know if China would allow nukes to go there, but certainly on the table, I think, would be more weapons in South Korea and in Japan, which China will not like, but we'll have to see what happens. Sane Centrist says, great coverage, thank you. Thank you, Sane Centrist, we appreciate it. Lee Johnson says he's not seeing any tweets about White House lockdown or threat from anyone on Twitter via TweetDeck search. I don't know, I leave it to you to pursue that story, at least thus far. David Harrell gave $25, very nice of you, David. He says, love this real news, keep up the good work. Thank you, David. Your donations allow us to do it, so we really appreciate the donations. Benji Cowger says Japan or South Korea or both will now become nuclear armed. That's what could happen. I agree, Benji. That's certainly a concern that, well, some people are concerned about it, but they're not nuclear armed now. But eventually does South Korea and Japan say we need to go nuclear? We can't have this neighbor with these nuclear weapons without us having them. Now, a lot of people, including like a lot of people in the U.S., would oppose that. U.S. government policy has been, look, Japan's constitution only allows them to have a defensive army, and that constitution was created basically by us after World War II. So, and a lot of countries just don't want more countries having nuclear weapons. But if North Korea starts developing this huge arsenal, there's a worry that South Korea and Japan will demand having them. Tiny Rick Sanchez says, I honestly knew that we'd be laughing until they achieve success. It's all a joke until the S hits the fan. Gregory Love says, I'm in Arizona and can't find your live feed. Just go to Right Side Broadcasting on YouTube and you'll find it there. Thomas says, when should we start running to the nuclear bunker? I leave these decisions to you guys. Ryan says that Fox has said there will be no U.S. statement on tests tonight. That's according to our viewer Ryan, who says he saw that on Fox. That's quite interesting information if that's the case. Let's see what else I can find news-wise. A lot of people in the United States probably don't even know this happened because they were sleeping when it happened. Here's a picture somebody produced, which they think is maybe the kind of thing that, oops, oh, they deleted it. They already deleted their tweet, so forget that. BNO News is also saying, here we go. So thank you, Ryan, for the heads up. I love when you guys help us cover the news here and you send in your news tips. BNO News, U.S. government is not expected to comment on North Korea's nuclear test until later on Sunday. Now, it's also possible that the United States really wants to figure out what they want to say about this and don't just want to just say something quickly just to say something. In the past, there have been tests where they came out stuff right away, but maybe this is seen as very important. This was extra important how they respond to this. Maybe there's different views within the administration on how they should respond to this. See here if there's any other stuff. Here's a tweet from Will Ripley. Japan and South Korea say that the hydrogen bomb test was about 11 times than North Korean tests in January 15, 2016, and 5 to 6 stronger than September 2016. Okay, this is interesting. I guess that would maybe mean The September one was 15. I think we're maybe looking at about 100 kilotons because the September one was 15 to 25 kilotons. And 100 kilotons would still be a very powerful bomb because that would be, you know, like 5-6 times what the Nagasaki and Hiroshima bombs were. Let's see here. What does this say? You are watching Right Side Broadcasting's continuing coverage of the North Korea hydrogen bomb test. Clyde Dillon Womack writes in, agreed framework of 1994 Bill Clinton signed, giving North Korea $5 billion and 2 new nuclear reactors and promise of no nukes. So they did break that agreement with us. Darth Kafefe says maybe U.S. is waiting to make a statement because they're planning military action. Bloody David says, funny how most of... Oh, sorry, that's not in response to this story. Ryan says, mainstream media crucifies the president for responding too quickly, responding too late, not responding at all, and even responding. Hashtag can't win. By the way, if you have comments you want me to read about what's going on here, about this story, write to me at Lookner on Twitter, at Lookner. Keck writes, thanks, Obama, for not doing anything about North Korea. Damian Ruelas writes, if North Korea does blow us up, I will see you all in paradise, my brothers and sisters. God bless all of you. Greg says, I wonder if the location of the test is accurate. According to the maps of the locations, there are no roads anywhere close. The closest roads and buildings are clear across the mountain range. Well, Greg, I will say that I've heard some experts say tonight that this launch was from near this test tonight was near the location of previous tests. So that suggests that it's a that would seem a reasonable place for them to test. But I don't know all the facts. Let me just check and see if there are any other news updates here. So I'm just peeking over my feed here and seeing if there's anything new in the last couple of minutes. Trolley, a couple of you, including Trolley 1502, wrote to me about a 5.3 earthquake in Idaho. I'd seen something about an earthquake before in Idaho. That was... Yeah, this looks like a normal earthquake because it looks like there's some aftershocks there too. Yeah, there was a 5.3 earthquake in Idaho, and then there's some aftershocks there. So the aftershocks are lower than that. And it says the time was, what is UTC right now? Current UTC is... So I think the Idaho earthquake, the original big one, was about 7 hours ago, if I'm reading this right, about 7 hours ago. So before the nuclear test. Tom Barnes says Kim Jong-un is unstable and unfit to wield this kind of power, for example, and he sent me a link to a story, McCain, North Korea, and War of Words over crazy fat kid crack. Miss Amy says, Xi Jinping is at a summit. I'm sure they're waiting to speak to the president of China and all other parties involved before speaking. Good point, Amy. They might want to coordinate with other countries before they say anything. Eric Bizel says, if North Korea keeps nukes, they will spark a nuclear arms race in East Asia. Not to mention they will be selling nuclear material on the black market where Islamists will eventually acquire it. Perhaps even within China or Russia's own borders or nations that don't like them, like the entirety of East Asia. The proliferation is definitely worrying. Possibility of proliferation. Luke in China says, China doesn't want testing to continue and are not happy with the situation as they are already agreed to sanctions by the UN. Well, some people say that they participate in sanctions, but they secretly are not unhappy with the situation. I don't know what to believe about that. So we're going to stay on the air a little while longer here. It is 3:18 a.m. Eastern, so I think in a few minutes we'll probably wrap this up. I got to get some sleep in case stuff happens. I'll have to be up tomorrow to cover the news. But we'll stay on a few minutes longer. If you have comments, get them in now. Write them to me on Twitter, at Lookner, at Lookner. And feel free to follow me on Twitter if you like breaking news. So even if I'm not on the air, I'm always posting about breaking news stuff. So at Lookner is my Twitter. At RSB Network is RSB Network's Twitter. If you're watching this on Facebook, I bet you're not anymore. Or are you? Oh yeah, because we restarted the stream, so it didn't cut out after 4 hours. So if you're watching this on Facebook, we'd love for you to share the video. We love when you share the video, and we love when you like the video on YouTube, because that tells YouTube, hey, show more people this video, because people like it. And be sure to subscribe to us on YouTube and click the notifications bell so you get informed about all of our live breaking news videos. And thank you for everybody who's donated tonight. Very much appreciate the donations. We are viewer supported. Donations are why we can be on the air giving you an alternative to the mainstream media. So if you like our coverage, please consider making a donation by going to rsbn.tv/donate, rsbn.tv/donate, or just go to the YouTube chat right next to the broadcast. Click on the $sign at the bottom of the YouTube chat. I stand with Trump says maybe Kimmy will stop his crap if we deny him access to Dennis Rodman. Think it will work? We just got a donation from Miss Rob Mob. Thank you for $25. Thank you for providing real and unbiased news. God bless you, Stephen, RSB, and the mods too. Thank you so much for the donation, Miss Rob Mob. We very much appreciate it. I want to do a quick check here of the news, as I periodically do, to see what people are posting. It's also, because it happened so late, there are a lot of people who would be commenting on this who we haven't even heard from yet, whether they're in the press or in the government, because probably a lot of them were asleep. So I'm sure tomorrow morning, if you check your Twitter, there'll just be all these new comments about this and everything. I'm surprised. I'm impressed. All these experts who I follow on weapons experts stayed up so late, because it is 3:21 Eastern time. But that's what they do. And right now, there are different experts online trying to figure out what the yield of this was, and they're making different estimates. Here's an initial estimate. One estimate that these people made, I don't know much about them, was 120 kilotons. Oh, these are all the tests. These are all the tests. So this is estimated, this is the estimated strength of all 6 North Korean nuclear tests. And you can see 1 kiloton, 5 kiloton, 10 kiloton, less than 10, 20, and then 120. So a big leap here with this one. C. Forrest Crumbaugh says this low-yield thermonuclear test is a game changer as one, they have the power to destroy a region with one bomb, and they can use an ICBM. So it may be a game changer. We'll see in terms of, well, game changer in terms of how people react to it or in terms of what their capability is. Definitely in terms of the second, but maybe how people react to it and how other countries react will be different now. I'm not sure. Okay, I think right now we're going to wrap this up because it is 3:22 a.m. Eastern. I'll stay on the air 5 more minutes just to let people have a last chance to comment in. But I just know the problem is if we stay up too late tonight, then there's going to be breaking news tomorrow about this, and I'll be asleep and I'll sleep through it, and you'll all hate me for sleeping through it. So a few more minutes here. We'll do just 5 more minutes. So get your comments in now. I'm committing to 5 more minutes. I'd like to stay up all night and cover it, but I got to be up tomorrow to cover the news too, and I'm sure there'll be stuff more on this tomorrow. Pete Hudsbury just sent me the full statement, I believe, that was read on the air. I'm not going to read it now because it's long and I'm exhausted, but maybe I'll tweet it out later. Thanks, Pete Hudsbury. What is this here? EA Star sent me this thing, Nuke Map, but it won't open. But I'll try opening it later. Thank you for sending it. Well, Matt Cotti says it seems that Kim Jong-un. Oh wait, that's not here. Did they already have? Did China already have their party congress? I thought they didn't have their party congress yet. I thought it's later. Yeah, it's in October. Oh, I see what that person was reading. Forget it. This is when my mind stops working when we've been up too late. So I apologize. Polyshop says New Zealand Stock Exchange, then Australia and Japan. Let's see what the markets say. Kev says if World War III would happen, only military will have access to the internet for advanced resources to keep info from being leaked. I have no idea if that's true. All right, I think it's time. Oh, I forgot to check my email just to make sure I didn't miss your emails. Steve Ackerman says, thanks for putting this segment out for us. We really do appreciate it. You're welcome, Steve. You later report the White House would have no comment at this time. Makes me think they're actually contemplating action, as we know President Trump won't telegraph military action, and now he's very involved with the North Korea situation. Just my opinion. We'll see you soon, I guess. Good night, and thanks again. Thank you, Steve. So I think we're going to wrap this up right now, and appreciate all of you joining us, and appreciate all people, the moderators in the chat room doing an amazing job. Thanks everybody for watching the stream and the last stream and all of your comments. Really appreciate you sending in all your comments so we could read on the air, so we could hear what you're thinking. The news tips people sent me, I thank you for that. Thank you to Joe for all his help in sending me links and feeds and stuff like that. And Ryan Ferrier just gave $10 Canadian, said, thanks from Soviet Kazakhstan, great coverage, keep up the amazing work. Thank you, Ryan. We very much appreciate your donation. That'll help keep us on the air. Remember, if you want to keep us on the air, we are viewer supported, so if you want to donate, you can go to rsbn.tv/donate, rsbn.tv/donate, or just click on the $ at the bottom of the YouTube chat room. And follow me on Twitter for breaking news updates. Even if I'm not on the air live, I'm always tweeting about breaking news at Lookner, at Look. I don't even know how to spell my name anymore. It's L8. At Lookner. Also, be sure to subscribe to us at Right Side Broadcasting on YouTube and click the notifications bell. That way you'll know when we're coming on the air. You'll get a notification. However, notifications are a bit iffy the last couple days. So as a backup, why not follow at RSB Network on Twitter? And then you can hear that way as well. James Hill just gave $2, said, good reporting. Thanks, Steve. You're welcome, James. That's very nice of you to make a donation. We appreciate it here. Yeah, this was a crazy night. It was kind of a quiet night. And then, it was quiet in the sense of, we were just going to cover the story from earlier in the day about North Korea, and as soon as we went off the air after covering that, this happened, and now we've been on the air ever since. So a lot of big North Korea coverage at Right Side Broadcasting tonight. Anyways, all right, so we're going to wrap this up. Thanks also to Joe for making the graphics, these graphics we're using now. This is the first time we've used these graphics before, but not on a news broadcast like this, so I like the graphics very much. Thank you, Joe. And what else was I going to say? Yeah, so stay tuned for Right Side. Keep your eyes out for us. We're going to have, this weekend, if more happens, as I said at the end of last stream, if breaking news happens, we'll be covering it. So, all right, I'm going to sign off now. Thank you, everybody in the chat room. Thank you, JC, for being for moderating. JC might be the only moderator left at this late hour, but we had a lot of them before, so we appreciate it. And thank you, everybody else in the chat. Eyes Open says, why are you wrapping it up? As I explained, I need to sleep sometime. You're welcome, Mr. Tommy Boy. And okay, all right, that's it. I'm gonna get off the air now and go to sleep so I can be up tomorrow for. We might even see an announcement by President Trump tomorrow, for all I know, on this. So we got to cover that. So I want to see what's going to go on with that. So I'm gonna get off the air right now. But thank you all for watching, and stay tuned for Right Side later in the weekend or in the future days, because we always come on the air when there's breaking news. So subscribe to us on YouTube, follow us on Twitter. I'm at @Lookner on Twitter, and now I'm just repeating myself because I'm tired. Okay, I'm going to sign off now. Thanks for watching. This is Right Side Broadcasting. On behalf of all of us here, this is Steve Lookner, hoping that you have a good rest of your evening or morning, wherever it is, and we'll see you all soon. Have a good one.